Guys, and we are here for the first ever episode of The Wager Zone after the snap. I'm your host, The Wager Zone. My name is Randy, and joining me tonight as the co-host, guys, is Hezi Hybrid, one of my boys that I've been friends with for a very long time. He's gonna be joining me. How are you doing, man?
Can't complain, brother. Just excited for this new football season.
Yep, man, this football season is going to be crazy. I'm very excited for this football season. We've been talking about this for a while, for a few weeks now. We wanted to get into this, and now we're going to be giving you guys our division winners, our playoff predictions, Super Bowl predictions, possibly, honestly, our awards. We're going to go through some awards that we think is who's going to have the better season this week. So, in the chat, if you guys are here or in the comments after this video is posted, come in here, guys, and actually let me know. Let me know in the chat who's your Super Bowl predictions, if you guys agree or disagree with us. So let me know all about that. I want to hear you guys' predictions as well. All right, guys, let's start with our predictions. We're going to get into the division winners right now. Right at the moment, we are going to start with the AFC East. That's the Bills, Patriots, Dolphins, and Jets. So I'll give my order of how I think exactly this is going to go and which teams I believe are going to be in the playoffs. And then we'll go over to Hez, and Hez will give up his predictions of who will be in the playoffs. So AFC East, guys, I got winning the division. I feel like everybody should have this team winning the divisions. I honestly feel like they are a top two team in the NFL this season. I believe they're going to be in there in the playoffs. It's going to be Josh Allen, the Bills. I think the Bills are going to win that division. Easy playoff spot for the Bills. Bills are probably going to be, in my opinion, probably a top three team in the AFC East. And all right, guys, the second team. I think some people might be surprised, but I feel like some people might not be surprised. I have the Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to be second in that division. I think Drake May is going to take a big step up this season with Mike Vrabel as the coach. I think this team's going to make some noise. They're going to have a good defense. They're going to have a run game. The coach and Mike Vrabel, he showed with the quarterback and Ryan Tannehill when he had a run game with Derrick Henry that he can pull up a team. And I do believe the Patriots are going to come in here. I'm not sure if they'll make the playoffs right now. I have my on my notes. I have playoffs maybe. I think it's going to come down to two teams for that final seven spot in the AFC, and I think the Patriots is going to be one of those teams. Then third, guys in the division, I have the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are going to take a step back this season. I've never been a big fan of Tua Tagovailoa. I just don't get me wrong. I do believe he has the skills, but he just can never stay healthy. He's been injured since college. He's always had concussions. He's always had things that's happening with ankles, sprained arms. Something always happens to Tua, and I don't believe he's going to be healthy all season. I do believe he's going to get injured probably midway through the season. They're going to miss him. And just with what Tyreek Hill's been talking about in the offseason, saying he wanted to go back to the Chiefs, I feel like the chemistry is going to be off of that team. They have a very young coach, and I don't know how he's actually going to deal with that the offseason drama that they've been going on. And last in the division, guys, which I believe is probably going to be one of the worst teams in the league. They have a good defensive coach, but the quarterback and Fields, it's going to be the Jets, guys, last in the division. I think the Jets probably at most will win like 4 or 5 games. I don't think Fields is that great of a quarterback. I thought he was too highly drafted by the Bears, and he ended up showing that he didn't have the skill set, honestly, to be a starting quarterback in this league, in my opinion. I think the only reason why he's a starting quarterback in this league is because the first of all, the hype around him, he was his draft stock, and who else are the Jets going to start? So that's my AFC East predictions, guys. I have the Bills winning the division, Patriots second, Dolphins third, and Jets. How do you got it, Hez?
I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head, man. Like, pretty much, I don't really see anybody coming out of that division other than, you know, pretty much the Pats are just trying to figure out their identity. As far as the Dolphins, like, they're barely making it above par because, I mean, their situation with, Tua, him coming back from injury, um, pretty much it's going to be bottom tier for the Jets because I mean it's the Jets. Like nobody really expects anything other than them trying to still try to find themselves as well. And then
Yeah.
who am I missing?
So you pretty much agree with that order? You said Bills, Patriots, Dolphins, Jets, probably in that order.
Yeah, I mean I don't really see anything drastic in terms of changes with the division in terms of the who's gonna like come over on top of each other. So it might be just be another another run for the Bills and to see really if they're gonna get over maybe beating Baltimore or really anybody else coming out. So yeah, I think that's pretty much fair.
Okay, yep. So I think the only thing that me and you probably have different is that I think last year, I think the Patriots were last in their division. Maybe or really last, or maybe the Jets were last. I can't remember who exactly was last year, but I just think the Patriots make that step up because the new coach, and I like Drake May a lot. I've liked Drake May since he was in college and he came into the league. Personally, I was a guy that thought Drake May was better than Caleb. I thought he had a higher ceiling than Caleb did, even though I like Caleb, but I just thought Drake May had the higher ceiling.
Yeah.
So now getting to the AFC West, guys. The AFC West: Broncos, Chiefs, Raiders, and Chargers in that division. All right, guys. For my division winner, this is probably going to surprise a lot of people. The division winner, I have the Broncos winning the division. I think the Broncos are going to win that division. I like Bo Nix. I said last year, if you guys remember my predictions last year, I told you guys I thought Bo Nix was going to be the best rookie that was ready for the NFL, mainly because of his age and the experience he has. So I do believe the Broncos win that division. They're going to have, in my opinion, the best defense in the NFL, coached by Sean Payton, that literally is trying to coach Bo Nix the same exact way he coached Drew Brees when Drew Brees got to that area. And I just do believe that the Broncos, that defense is going to hold them together. And I believe that the Broncos are going to have a great season, win that division. And second in the division, guys. So obviously, I had the Broncos making the playoffs. Second in the division, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. Originally, before the left tackle got injured for the Chargers, I had the Chargers being second in that division. I thought the Chiefs, I was going to come on here and say the Chiefs were going to miss the playoffs. But now with the left tackle is going to be missing, I don't know how long for the Chargers. I have the Chiefs second in the division. I think the Chiefs are going to go into that wild card spot. I think the Chiefs just coming off of the Super Bowl woes they had, three straight Super Bowls. Kelsey's getting old. He's getting married to Taylor Swift now. A lot of distractions, I believe, and I just don't think that the Chiefs are going to be as dominant as last year. If you remember, the Chiefs went 15-1, which I predicted. If you guys remember my predictions last year, I came on here. I said the Chiefs are going to go 15, or was it 16-1? Oh, 17 weeks, 15-1. I'm right. So I said the Chiefs are going to go 15-1. I even told you guys the one loss the Chiefs are going to have that season was to the Bills. I called the Chiefs. I called the Chiefs division all the way up. Besides them going to the Super Bowl, I thought the Ravens were going to make the Super Bowl last year, but Lamar. We'll get into Lamar, man. Lamar just sometimes he just did not show up when you need Lamar to show up. But so I have the Chiefs second in that division. Third in the division, I was going back and forth, but mainly I'm doing it because of the coach. I'm going Chargers third in the division. Chargers, I think they're going to have a nasty run game. I think the Harbaugh, he had a left tackle that was going to be able to protect Justin Herbert. I would have been able to choose them to go into the playoffs and have the Chiefs missing. But I think the Chargers are going to make that, be third in that division, possibly just barely miss the playoffs. But I think the Chargers have a good season. They're going to have a good defense. They're going to have a good run game like Harbaugh always does. And then the last in the division, guys, one of my most hated teams I do not like, I've never liked them since I was a kid, is the Raiders. I'm picking Raiders last in the division. Don't get me wrong, they got Pete Carroll now. Geno Smith is over there. Ashley Genty coming out of college, probably going to be a dynamic running back. I believe the Raiders are going to do a little bit better than people expect them. I don't think the Raiders are going to only win like 3 or 4 games, something like that. I think the Raiders will win something around, let's say, 6, 7 games, but still be under 500 and miss the playoffs right behind the Chargers. So that's my division, guys. I have the Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers, and Raiders, with the Broncos and Chiefs both making the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, can it's hard to not agree with you on that. I mean, the Chiefs, as far as who they still have on the team and the pieces they've added over from the draft and the players that they've kept and let go, I would probably still have them lead the AFC West this year. And if anybody that's also that's a creeper that's going to be like right underneath them, I'll probably have to say Denver as well, just because of how much they progressed this last year. I'm also a big fan of Bo Nix and how much Sean Payton has shifted that culture and stuff, because I know they've been pretty much down in the dumps for some years now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, the Chargers, I mean, I feel like they still have some work to do. I'm not really sold on Harbaugh's offense and so much really of the defense. You have like a Derwin James who's been a vet now on the DB side, and I don't really feel like he's healthy enough per se to really help carry that load. And nobody really knows who's going to be solidified at the running back position. So I would say they'll probably be third. And as for the Raiders, it's good that they have Pete Carroll now, and I'm kind of excited to see what Ashton Genty does. I don't know if he's going to quite make that 1,000 yards because I don't believe
Mm-hmm.
in the offensive line. But I'm happy that Gino is reunited with his old coach, and just looking forward to seeing how everything plays out. But all in all, I still have the Chiefs, and then I have the Broncos right behind them.
Okay, and then you have the Broncos and Chiefs both? Do you have the Broncos making the playoffs as well, or do you think the Broncos miss out?
I feel like the Broncos could sneak in there this season.
Yeah, is that like 6 or 7 seed?
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay, so now getting into the AFC North, guys. This might be, I don't want to say the most like the best teams I mean the best division as in team wise, is I do believe the AFC West might have the best team wise in the division, but this might be the most competitive. These teams always play really well against each other every single time. Every single time these teams lined up like on the against each other, these teams do very well always against each other. So AFC North, I have the Baltimore Ravens winning the division. Yeah, so bad. I wanted to come on here and tell you the Bengals are going to win the division. I'm a big Joe Burrow fan, so I wanted to come on here and tell you about the Bengals, but I just don't believe in that defense. I think they're going to miss out. I think the Ravens are going to end up winning that division. Lamar Jackson. One thing about Lamar, he always puts up numbers in the regular season. Harbaugh, the other brother, always has a great game plan. They always have a good defense. They have a good culture there in in Baltimore. So I just believe they're gonna have a good defense. Derrick Henry's getting a little older, so I don't know if he's gonna do as good as he did last season. He's getting to get up there in age. He's taking some hits, so I think it's gonna be more the Lamar Jackson show this year. And they just win games. So I'm taking the Ravens to win the division. And second in the division, guys, taking the Cincinnati Bengals. I think Joe Burrow's going to have a really good bounce back year this year. I think the defense is going to be a little bit better. Not the worst defense. They're historically bad defense last year. They had 7 games where they scored over 30 points, and they only won 3 of those games. It's kind of crazy to say, like, Joe Burrow's out there putting up numbers, scoring over 30 points, and they're still losing. So this year, I just believe the Bengals are going to have a little bit better defense. They paid Hutchinson. Is it Hutchinson or no Hendrickson? They paid Hendrickson, and I think Hendrickson's going to come out there have another dominant good season. I think the Bengals defense is just going to be a little bit better. They got a new defensive coordinator, so hopefully that helps them out. So I'm taking the Bengals second in the division. I think the Bengals make the playoffs as well. Third in the division now, I have the Steelers. Steelers are going to finish third in the division. This is going to be the first time I'm actually saying that Mike Tomlin, big fan of Mike Tomlin, but first time I'm actually predicting Mike Tomlin's going to have a losing season. I just don't like Aaron Rodgers. I've never liked Aaron Rodgers. I've been saying this for years. People told me I was crazy for a long time, and I feel like the last 2, 3 years, people are finally realizing it. I've been saying this guy's an egotistical maniac that just wants things his way all the time. He doesn't care what people have to say. If it's not his way, he pouts about it. He's kind of a big brat when it comes to that thing. And now he's with the Steelers, and he better honestly take a step back because Mike Tomlin is not going to accept any of that. Mike Tomlin runs this team. This is Mike Tomlin's team. And also, I just think Aaron Rodgers getting older. It's been, I think, if I'm correct, it has been over 3 or 4 years. I think it's going on 24 games that Aaron Rodgers has not passed over 300 yards. This man is not having a good season. Yes, he does. He rarely throws picks because what Aaron Rodgers does, he'll rather throw the ball to the floor, or throw the ball away than throw a pick. So this is people. I think people are looking at it more of like, oh, Aaron Rodgers, look at the touchdown to interception ratio. That's because, which is kind of smart, but he never goes for it. He's kind of like very so self-centered that he's like, I can't throw a pick or people are going to talk about me. When he goes on an interview saying, I don't care if people talk about me. Like I said, I don't like Aaron Rodgers. I just think this guy is all over the place. He seems like he's more interested in going to Peru and smoking some ayahuasca and go finding his mental retreat. So Steelers, even though I like Mike Tomlin, this is gonna be the first ever losing season, in my opinion, under 500. Steelers missed the playoffs. And the last in the division, guys, which I just don't like this team right now, just because what they're doing to Shador Sanders. I think Shador Sanders should be at least the backup quarterback. Browns are going to finish last in that division. Browns just don't have a good team, guys. They have Joe Flacco that I think believe is like 43, 42 years old. That Joe Flacco starting for them this year. They just got rid of Kenny Pickett. They have Dylan Gabriel as the third string, or is it no? He's the backup quarterback. Dylan Gabriel, where I just believe Shador Sanders is better than him. I just really just don't think that Dylan Gabriel has the size and the arm strength or even the accuracy to be the backup quarterback. And I'm honestly going to say right now, the Browns are going to have a horrible season. I think the Browns win like 3 or 4 games. Myles Garrett's the only thing good on that team, and he just took the money and said, you know what, I'll stay for the money. He probably should have left and got into a better team. But I have the Browns finishing last in the division. I think the Browns have a horrible season, and Joe Flacco eventually is probably going to get injured. Man's like 42, 43 years old. Eventually, he's probably going to get hurt. They're going to put in Dylan Gabriel, most likely. Dylan Gabriel is going to show that he's not a backup quarterback. Then they're going to finally move to the Shador Sanders, and I think honestly, Shador is going to probably get 2 of those wins out of the 4 wins. I'm telling you, they get. I think Shador later on in the road is going to get like 2 of those wins, and then we're going to see going to next season what Shador Sanders can do. So that's my 4 teams in the order is going to be the Ravens making the playoffs, Bengals making the playoffs, Steelers missing, and the Browns last in the division.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much it's going to be the Lamar Jackson show when it comes out of Baltimore. Do they? I believe they still have Zay Flowers as a wideout, right?
Think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to be obviously one of the main two targets. Obviously, they still have DeAndre Hopkins re-signed him, so the vet that should give him another target. But ultimately, it's going to be dependent on his decision making and if he can take care of the football, especially when it comes down to the postseason. There's no doubt that everybody knows they're going to make it. Um, but as far as pretty much Derrick Henry is starting to get older, so I don't know how much he can actually continue to carry the load per se. But yeah, they should be coming out on top. I also do have Cincinnati to add on, like how you're saying. Hopefully Joe Burrow comes out of that slump, and you still arguably have Jamar Chase as probably the second best receiver, I would say, behind Justin Jefferson, or people can argue say one and two. But
Hmm.
overall, I think they're going to be fine. I'm still having questions marks about that defense, even with the resign of Hendrickson. I'm not really sold on it, but I could still see them just sneaking in behind the playoffs, as a second behind Baltimore. Um, as for the Steelers, obviously they will have a better shot at being, that last spot between them and Cleveland. Because as we all know, Cleveland has a lot of things going on. But as far as that, Aaron Rodgers I'm surprised he just hasn't retired yet.
Yeah.
And he's on this team still, so or on a team in general. So kind of excited to see how this defense is going to play out because they added like Jalen Ramsey and company and stuff. Hayward on the
Hmm.
defensive line, so the pass rush is definitely upgraded. So that'll definitely keep them afloat. But as far as their offense, I don't really know. They've traded Pickens away and they pretty much just added DK into the mix. So who knows how that's going to play? But
Which
realistically,
which is kind of crazy. Which so just to sorry to interrupt you, but the craziest thing is like DK. Once you know about DK, he's a deep threat. He goes out for the
right?
deep ball. Aaron Rodgers don't throw the deep ball no more. And
No,
DK
definitely.
is not that good of a route runner. He doesn't throw those slants. He doesn't throw no. He doesn't really do anything besides get the deep ball or maybe try to come across with a what is it with a hitch curl where he just turns around, catches it, and tries to break a tackle and take off. He doesn't really do too much of that. Aaron
Yeah,
Rodgers likes those people running down the middle. He likes slants. He likes drags. He likes the people that actually know route running. And I just don't think DK is that.
yeah. Especially because he already had wasted some time being with Seattle all these years. Now that he's forced to be in the offense with a much older quarterback at that, kind of throwing in the fire. I don't really see him really progressing on, and who knows? He may even try to force himself out after the season.
So your order. I'm just trying to remember. I'm trying to write down our predictions. So your order that is for the North Ravens, and then you got Bengals next.
Bengals, Pittsburgh, and then Cleveland. Probably barely. I wouldn't even think they even make 500 to be honest,
If
because
this
they just
was
have
soccer,
so much.
if this was soccer, the Browns would be getting relegated down to the USL football league.
Yeah.
That's what the Browns. The Browns, man, they had their chance. They had their chance with Baker Mayfield, and they ruined it. They ruined Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham, and the Cleveland Browns. They chose Odell over Baker, a 30-something-year-old Odell over a young Baker that just broke the touchdown record for a rookie season. So the Browns, I given up on the Browns. I'm like, I had given them one shot, and it was when they had Baker Mayfield, and they ruined it. Which we'll get into Baker Mayfield because you guys see it's a Buccaneers fan right here. So we'll get into Baker Mayfield when we get to that division. So
Wait, is Landry still on the team? By the way,
who?
Jarvis Landry.
I don't know. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah.
I
I don't know.
don't know if he's still on that team, honestly. So now, last one. So real quick, I have the Bengals and Ravens both making the playoffs. Do the Bengals sneak in there?
Yeah, I still think they do. I don't know how far they'll go, but I think they'll definitely sneak into the first round, maybe in the second round or something.
Okay. So now at AFC South, we got the Texans, Titans, Colts, and Jags in that one. Now for the division winner I have for that one, this might be more of a heart pick, I guess, because I'm a big fan of this guy and I just believe he's gonna have a great bounce back season. I'm taking the Jags to win the division. I think Trevor Lawrence has a great bounce back season. The defense is going to play a little bit better, and the running game is going to be better. And they have a good offensive minded coach over there now. I just think this is gonna be the last year I believe in Trevor Lawrence. As I've been saying for a long time, I not saying that he's better than this guy, but more like the new age. I was calling him Peyton Manning 2.0 for the longest. I was like, he's the new age Peyton. I was like, guys, watch this guy's dope. I watched him at Clemson. I watched him coming in. I was like, this guy's gonna be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He showed it for a bit. He had flashes. He was looking great. He went and had that, what is it, a 27-point comeback in the playoffs against the Chargers, and at that point, I was like, here comes Trevor Lawrence. Then the next year, he hurts his back. Then he hurts it. Then he just came back and he was not himself. So I kind of gave him a pass last year because he was injured so much, and he's kind of still recovering. So I'm kind of giving him a pass. And I do believe this year is where we're gonna know if Trevor Lawrence is really that guy or not. So I'm taking the Jags to win the division. Second in the division, where like I said, I have it down to two teams who's gonna get that seventh spot in the playoffs. So, I mean, that seventh spot in the AFC for the playoffs. I have the Texans. Texans going to be the second team I have in there. I'm a big fan of CJ Stroud. I just don't know with CJ Stroud taking a big step back last season. I understand that he was missing Stephon Diggs, so he didn't have his number one threat. But there are some moments where I seen that CJ, where in that first rookie year, we thought CJ was going to be like that Jaden Daniels, where we saw Jaden Daniels, how great he was. We thought CJ was going to take, I know Jaden was a rookie, but I expected CJ to make that step up where he can lead the Texans to a playoff run, have a good playoff game. But he just did bad in the playoffs. He didn't have a good regular season as much as everybody believes. I saw some people picking CJ to win the MVP last year, and then like he just kind of just had a really bad season. I know it's a sophomore slump, but I'm not sure about CJ anymore. Like I said, I like the guy a lot. I do. I'm a big fan of CJ. I watched him in college, and now this is the step we're gonna see if he can get. Well, I do believe they're second in the division, but let's see if he can get those 11 wins, 10 wins, and try to lead them. Because I think the Patriots are going to be right there. I think the Patriots are going to be like 9 or 10 wins, and I honestly see the same thing for the Texans, 9 or 10 wins. So that's why I have written down right here: Patriots and Texans playoffs. Maybe it's going to come down to those two, in my opinion, for the seventh spot. Then a third in that division, I have the Titans. I think the Titans are going to have a pretty good season. I think they're going to surprise some people because I like Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward's a pretty decent quarterback, and I think he's very athletic. He can throw that deep ball. He has a very strong arm. The team around him isn't that good, so I do believe it's going to be more of like Cam Ward carrying this team. But I do believe in his rookie year, Cam Ward can lead the Titans to about 7 or 8 wins. I think a lot of people have Titans only winning about like 3, 4 games, being a bad team. I think they surprised some people, and I think Cam Ward leads them about probably 7 or 8 wins this season. So Titans third in that division. And last in the division, where this team, ever since Andrew Luck retired, they just don't know what to do anymore. Like Andrew Luck retiring set the Indianapolis Colts like back 10, 11 years. Like the Colts at this moment just can't figure it out. They're drafting the wrong quarterbacks. I think the Colts with I think Daniel Jones is going to be starting now because I'm not sure if Richardson is out of the injury or not, but I think Daniel Jones is going to be starting, and we already seen what Daniel Jones is already doing. Like this guy is honestly not that good of a quarterback. Where he had one good year, and that was mainly because Saquon was running the ball so good, and he was able to play that play action. And now with the Colts, he has a good running game. He has a good offensive line, but I just don't believe in Daniel Jones. I think the Colts are going to finish bottom, probably win about 4 games.
Yeah, I mean, I think the obvious one that's going to be coming out is pretty much the Jags. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, he's been in it for a while, and people have been doubting him. And when it really came down to him for him to put up or shut up, he really hasn't really been doing it. But they made some offseason acquisitions and made some pretty incredible draft picks this past season. I mean, within recently, and then you know. I don't see why, he wouldn't really actually take over the division this year because, he's always had it right in his hands, but then he just always let it slip to, teams like the Colts that were just battling, or, CJ Stroud also trying to make a name for himself. And that's
Mhm.
another team I actually have right behind them. So they might actually, depending on how CJ feels this year, if he actually is going to be on his game, he could also take the division and be right there with the Jags. So I really have them going neck and neck for sure. As for the Colts, I mean, I don't know why I really don't know why a quarterback from Duke is still able to really, be on a team. Everybody's seen what happened with him in New York, and it really is that not that much different now that he's on a different team. I mean, if anything, he's just on a team that's just as bad. But it's tragic what happened to Anthony Richardson. Him getting hurt like that in the preseason against Baltimore, but. They still have a lot of pieces to try to figure out. You know, what's the running? I keep forgetting the name of the running back that they have
For who?
for Indianapolis.
Is Jonathan Taylor? Is it Taylor? Is Jonathan Taylor still there? Yeah.
Taylor is there, so I think that he's going to be a good contributor to the offense, but I don't think it's going to be enough for them to get over that hump. And then
And one thing about
yeah,
Jonathan Taylor, before you get into the Titans, I know you're about to speak on Cam Ward. One thing about Jonathan Taylor, I can say that I just believe this. I might be wrong in this opinion, but just from what I see on my eye test, he kind of reminds me of a DeMarco Murray for the Cowboys. That where DeMarco never had that great season until he got the offensive line, and then he just showed up and had the great game, great season. Where I think the
right,
same as I think about Jonathan Taylor. I feel like he's more of a product of how good that Colts offensive line is. I don't think he's really much of a top five running back as a lot of people really seen him. I think he just the offensive line is so good. I feel like you can put what's it called? What's that guy? You could put Morris or one of these running backs like maybe Blake Corum from the Rams and put him behind that line, and you can see them go off as well.
yeah. And as far as for the Titans too, I mean pretty much pick up Tyler Lockett, the longtime Seattle Seahawk. They I forget the other receiver's name, but they have him as a little counterbalance between, to have Cam Ward as another option. Not really too sure. Didn't really look in terms of the depth chart this year of who they have for running back, but I can also see him maybe winning like slinging it out 7, 8 games. But
Hmm.
all in all, still have a lot to figure out. So I wouldn't really be putting him too much on a pedestal this year.
So right now you have the Jags first winning the division, correct? And then you have the Texans, and then do you
Yeah.
have do you have the Titans or Colts third?
I would still definitely put up the Tennessee.
Okay. So me and you are basically right on board with that division.
Yeah.
Titans and then Colts. And do you have the Texans making the playoffs? Do
Mm.
you kind of agree with what I said? Is it going to come down to either the Texans or the Patriots for that seventh spot?
No, I don't really think I'll see Houston making it this year.
No. Okay. So now that's our AFC prediction. So let's go through it. I just want to make sure these are my seven. I have to pick a team that's going to make the playoffs. So what I'm going to do, Bills Bills making the playoffs. Broncos making all the division winners obviously making the playoffs. Bills, Broncos, Ravens, Jags, all making the playoffs. I have the Bengals, Chiefs in there. Now there's one more spot. I'm just gonna say it. I have the Texans missing the playoffs, and I think the Patriots get that seventh spot just with a new coach and a young quarterback. So I have the Texans missing the playoffs, which a lot of people are probably going to find that very surprising. But I just believe the Patriots going to do so good this season that it's going to be a hard battle for that last spot. And right now, I have marked down for you because you need 7 playoff spots. I have the Bills. So right now, marked down for you as a playoff team: the Chiefs, the Broncos, Ravens, Bengals, and the Jags. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, 5 playoff teams right now. So you need 2 more playoff teams, if I'm correct. Let me double check if I'm right. You said Bills 1, Chiefs 2, Broncos 3, Ravens 4, Bengals 5, Jags 6. Okay, you have 6 playoff teams. So who would be your last playoff team getting probably into that spot? Then you can choose between the Chargers, Steelers, Texans, or Patriots.
I would say the Pats. I'll
The
say the
Pats.
Pats because Drake May is in this league long enough to know of what it takes to kind of just to just make it happen. Really.
Hmm. So basically, me and you seem like we're kind of on the same, almost on the same thing for the AFC. We both have the same exact playoff teams making the playoffs this year. I think the only difference I see between mine and yours for the division is the only difference we have is you have the Chiefs winning the division and I have the Broncos winning the division. I think that's the only difference me and you have for the AFC. So seems like we're very on board with that. So let's see how that actually goes this season. Now let's get into the NFC. The NFC, where both of our teams are actually in the NFC. So we're both going to be watching the NFC a lot this season. So let's get into the NFC East. The NFC East has the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Giants, and the Commanders. So if I had to say this right now, obviously, I think the Eagles win that division. I think the Eagles are hands down the best team in that division with Howie Roseman and those guys on the GM. They know how to pick a team. That team is just nasty. So I think the Eagles win that division. Now, second in that division, I had this team marked down as playoffs. Maybe I have to make a decision. It's going to come down to them and I think one other team as well to make that playoff. And I might sound crazy right now, but if one thing about the playoffs, it's rare all the same teams make the playoffs. So you always have to find those teams that you believe are going to be the different teams. Like in the AFC, my new team was the Patriots. I think the Patriots and the Jags. Patriots and Jags are my new teams in the playoffs. This one, I'm gonna sound crazy, but yeah, roll with this. I might sound crazy on this one. I got the Giants second in the division. I think that defense is going to be a really great defense. They have probably the best defensive line in the NFL. Like with Abdul Carter coming over there as a rookie, adding to what they already have, I think that defensive line is going to be nasty. They have a good coach over there. Jackson Dart has been looking really good. And I believe that Russell Wilson is a decent enough quarterback to get him enough wins with that defense behind him to get him there. And if Russell gets hurt, they have Dart right behind him that he's just looking really good. So I think honestly the Giants, I'm not sure if they make the playoffs, but I think the Giants finish second in that division. And now third in that division, I got the Commanders. I know, guys, that's what people are probably looking. People are probably listening to that right now. Like, did this guy really come on here and say the Giants going to be over the Commanders? I just think with McLaurin, I'm not sure. I don't know if they traded him yet, but with the whole drama going on with McLaurin, and I'm not sure if he's going to have him. And Jaden Daniels on the coming as a sophomore, I feel like there's going to be some tape on him, and I feel like a lot of these teams are going to be able to figure out what Jaden Daniel does. So I do believe it's going to come down to probably like very close, where the Giants win about nine games, and the Commanders win about 8 or 9 games. I think it's going to be right there, and it might come down to a tie between those two teams in the record wise. But I think the Giants are going to probably win the tiebreaker. So Commanders third in that division, and last in the division, guys, the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are going to have a really bad season this year, and I'm not going to lie to you. I think that's what Jerry wants. I think Jerry wants to have. A lot of people say this man is senile and he doesn't really know what he's doing. I feel like he does. I feel like one thing about Jerry Jones, he makes calculated decisions and not about winning, more about what's popular to get the NFL talking about the Cowboys. And the one thing that you can do is trade away Micah Parsons for 2 first rounders. We'll get into that later. I'm also before our predictions, guys. I want to get into this. We're going to get into some NFL topics we're going to talk about as well. But we're trading away Michael Parsons for a couple first-round picks, and they got a good offensive lineman for him. I honestly think he's putting Dak on notice right now. I think he's saying, Dak, this is your team. You come out here. You see what Joe Burrow did last year with the Bengals? You got paid a lot of money. You're a top 5 paid quarterback in this league. You need to go out there and show me you can do what Joe Burrow does without a defense and go out there and put up some numbers with CD Lamb and these guys. So I think Jerry knows that next season it's a great quarterback class coming in. So he's gonna probably try to get one of these young guys. Imagine Arch Manning going to the Dallas Cowboys. Just imagine that. Like we might be crazy, but I think Jerry knows what he's doing. In the next 2 draft classes, he's gonna have 4 first-round picks total. So Cowboys. One thing about them, I know they don't always win, but they always draft very well. They know how to pick. players. For some, like that's the one thing they're good at, is picking players. So I think Jerry wants this. I think Jerry wants to finish last in the division. I think he's probably going to try to replace Dak soon. So that's why I have finishing last in the division. I have the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna start from the bottom up this time.
Yeah.
I definitely would definitely have Dallas down there. I don't really them losing Micah is pretty much the heart and soul in that defense. And for what it's worth, like yeah, people can argue and say like, no, he's a franchise player and they should have kept him. If anything, overpaid for him because he's such he's the heart and soul of that team other than Dak. And
Hmm.
I feel like that should have been solidified, but obviously Jerry had other plans, and they, like you said, they have pretty much multiple draft picks now for the upcoming years. Like it's going to be a pretty good quarterback class upcoming in the next season. So it'll be interesting to see what they do, but I don't really see them doing anything. Barely getting to 500 at that.
Hmm.
Um, as Jerry said himself, he was trying uh, to make it known that like he got rid of him not only for despite the drama that he was trying to improve the rush defense, which to me is like an oxy. It's like man, like no, that's actually not happening. You just made it worse in a sense.
Yeah.
Um, but from there, I think in third, I will actually have the Giants because even though they've made these acquisitions over the summer.
Hmm.
I still think that they still need to solidify things in terms of their offense because defense we already know what they're about. Defensive line is arguably probably one of the best, and they just added and they got way better by adding Abdul Carter from Penn State. But at the end of the day, it's like it's the Giants, and they're always known for you know having a pretty good draft, but they're always trying to bank on just a veteran quarterback to just wing it as soon as their first year. I've
Hmm.
never been a fan of Russell Wilson like that, so I feel like it's only a matter of time before things take a drastic turn, and he's just like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm gonna see what else is going to be another option for me to kind of just sign a 1 year deal and hope to wing it as well." But who knows? It could be, it could turn out differently. But that's just from my prediction. I don't really see them make that crazy jump.
Hmm.
Um, I think in second, I'm gonna have the Commanders
Yeah.
because we've seen what they did last year with their incredible offense with Jaden Daniels. They just traded Bijan Robinson,
Is it for the Commanders?
yeah, the running back to
I
San
th-
Francisco.
it's not Bijan. Bijan plays for Atlanta, but I know it's Robinson. He has a last name Robinson. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, they got rid of him, but I don't really think that's going to be too much of a factor. I think they actually just re-signed Terry McLaurin.
Oh, did they? I didn't. I might have missed that. They signed Terry there. Scary Terry is back.
Scary Terry is back. It was like 3 years worth for like 90 mil or something like that. I could
Okay.
be. So they definitely extended him. They still have, some good talent on the offensive side. I think they re-signed some offensive linemen as well, so they're going to be pretty solid on that. I think kind of similar to the Baltimore situation. It kind of goes, heading in to see how Jaden actually handles the pressure this year. Now that he's got rid of the rookie slumps and he's kind of got his feet wet, if you will. So I could
Hmm.
see him kind of maybe improving, but at the same time, like I don't know if it's gonna. I don't think it's still gonna be enough to top Philly. Because like as adding on to what you said earlier, they're just crazy loaded with talent. Obviously,
Yeah.
Saquon doesn't look like he's stepping down. Um, they just always on their game in terms of drafting and keeping your players and always exchanging. So I just think that in terms of that division, nobody's gonna really see Philly like that.
So Philly number one, obviously. Commanders. Do you have them in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think they'll
Yep.
come in there.
Okay. And then Giants third, and then Cowboys. I can say this right now about that division. All those quarterbacks, Hurts, Daniels, and Dak, they all gonna be running for their lives this season against the Giants. The Giants D line is coming for all those quarterbacks next. I swear they're gonna be. I might be wrong about that prediction for second in the division, but we'll see. I think the Giants will have a good season because I just think they're gonna lead just as a team lead the league in sacks. Like I think it's gonna be a crazy defensive line, and the Giants are kind of doing what they did before. They got a young quarterback and they're building that defense around their young quarterback, just how they won Super Bowls before. So it seems like that's what they're doing again. So now we'll get into the NFC West. The NFC West, they got the Cardinals, the Rams, the Niners, and the Seahawks. We got those four teams in that division. First, and winning the division, obviously, guys, you guys know who's winning that division. I'll tell you guys right now, it's going to be the Los Angeles Rams. We got the Rams winning that division. I don't buy the Matthew Stafford back thing. I know people are telling me, Randy, no, it's a real back thing. He's had back injuries for a long time. But I'm not saying his back don't hurt. That's not what I'm telling people. I'm not saying his back don't hurt. I'm saying this man, I feel like when he got brought back in to with the Rams, I feel like Sean McVay said, "Hey, come back and play for the Rams. We'll pay you some money, and then you can sit out all training camp, and we'll get you ready for towards the end. You don't have to do all this." And he was like, "Oh, for sure." So I feel like one thing about people don't understand about the NFL is you can't miss training camp without being on the injured list. If you miss training camp without being on an injured list, they're gonna take some of your money. They
Yeah.
find you every single time you miss. So I feel like they put him on the injury list. I'm not saying his back didn't hurt, but I'm saying he could have played. Like he could have been out there. Because mainly the reason why I say that is because as soon as he was back in training camp that last week when he came in, Matthew Stafford started looking great. Ain't no back, ain't no like grimace, nothing. He's sitting there just chucking balls. I'm like, yeah, this is a man that has a back injury that's really bad. Yeah, no, he looked perfect out there. So I think the Rams win the division. I think the Rams going to be one of the best teams in the NFC. I think they're going to probably be a top three team in probably top three, maybe top four team in the NFC. So I have the Rams winning that division. Second in the division, just like I told you, you have playoffs maybe with this team and the Giants. I think I honestly think the Cardinals finish second in that division. I think the Cardinals, just looking at the schedule, they have a really easy schedule. They have a decent defense. Kyler Murray is a good quarterback. I know like he plays Madden a lot and people are Call of Duty and people are saying that he needs to pay attention more, but he's getting to that age where he is starting to realize, you know what, my NFL career actually matters. I chose this instead of baseball. Maybe I should actually be paying attention. So I think Kyler Murray is going to have a really good season this year. I think the Cardinals are going to surprise some people. Just looking at their schedule, I think the Cardinals come out starting hot, just like they did before. I think the Cardinals are going to come out probably be undefeated for maybe I want to say maybe only one loss, maybe undefeated for about 8 weeks. We're going to be talking about the Cardinals. They're going to be one of the top of the division. Rams second, right below them. Everyone's going to be saying, "Oh, Cardinals are coming. Cardinals are a surprise team this year." And then if you look at their back end of their schedule, they start having a lot of hard games, and I think that's when the Cardinals start falling off. And then that's why I don't have them finishing first. I have them finishing second. So I think the Cardinals might make the playoffs. I'll see. I'll make my decision right now if I have them or the Giants making the playoffs. But I think the Cardinals have a good season this year. I've had them finishing second in the division. Third in the division, I had the 49ers. I think the Niners, don't get me wrong, they have all the talent. I see a lot of people saying the Niners are a top 10 team in the NFL, which healthy wise, they might be a top 10 in the team in the NFL. But you can't have me trust you can't have me trust these guys. You can't have me trust Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle to stay healthy. These guys always get hurt. McCaffrey, you want to talk about who has a bad back? It's Christian McCaffrey. That guy, his back is just shot. I'm like, he might come out hot, start out the season really good, but eventually he's gonna take some hits. He's gonna get hurt. I'm a big Christian McCaffrey fan. You remember this when he came out of Stanford? I was telling you, I was like, "Hey, bro, that boy CJ McCaffrey, that dude's nice." Like so. I'm a big fan of CJ McCaffrey, and I've picked him in my fantasy league a few years in a row now. I was saying he's gonna have a good season, but I just don't see him staying healthy. I don't see Kittle staying healthy. I think Brock Purdy's gonna struggle a little bit, and they end up paying him a lot of money that kind of strongholded them to where they're not going to be able to sign anybody really new. Is Ayuk's his receiver, right? Because Debo's gone, so Ayuk's the number one now, right? And
Yeah.
Ayuk is another guy where he's the number one receiver and he gets hurt too. So
Mhm.
I just, with the injuries and everything and the running game, where I know that the Shanahans have a good running scheme and anybody can basically get in the backfield and have a good season, but there's a different levels between having Christian McCaffrey there as healthy and some guy who just plug and play. So I have Niners third in that division. Last in our division, not very behind the Niners. I think they're gonna have a decent season as well, but not too far behind the Niners. But I have them finishing last. I have the Seahawks finishing last. I think Sam Darnold made a horrible decision going to the Seahawks. Like You had a team in the Vikings that was loaded, ready to pay you some money. You could have honestly. I even said that. I even heard the Rams and also the one other team, the Colts, were looking for offense. I mean, quarterback, trying to sign him in because the Rams looked at Sam Darnold because we thought we were not going to have Stafford, so we looked at Sam Darnold. He chose the team with the worst offensive line to go play for them. He chose the money over winning, and it's kind of the dumbest decision I've actually seen. Like Sam Darnold, don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of Sam Darnold. If you guys want to know, I'm an SC fan. I like USC. And I've watched Sam Darnold a lot coming out of the college. I thought Sam Darnold, when it was Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield in the same draft class, everybody was on Sam Darnold saying he was gonna be better than Baker. I told everybody, no, I think Baker's better, but I think Sam Darnold's really good as well. But so you know what Sam Darnold reminded me of? Sam Darnold reminded me of Brett Favre, gunslinger, big, size. He's tough. He takes some shots. He gets right back up. He throws the ball deep. He's just a straight gunslinger for a quarterback. And yes, he's gonna make some mistakes. Yes, but that's what you get with Sam Darnold. You're gonna get a whole bunch of yards, get a whole bunch of touchdowns, but you're probably gonna get some picks as well. But with him now going to the Seahawks, he's I just don't understand it. You have no offensive line. You have no run game. You have a new young head coach that's young and doesn't really have the experience. And he left one of the best offensive mind coaches too. So I think the Seahawks are going to have a decent season. Like not they're going to finish last in the division, but I think it's just going to be Sam Darnold throwing the ball everywhere and running for his life for most of the time. And Seahawks are going to finish last.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much adding on to your predictions, I'm pretty much in the same boat. Like, I don't think anybody else is going to come on top other than the Rams this year. Matthew Stafford is pretty much him.
Mhm.
When he's healthy, people say like, "Oh, he's older, and he's already went through his Super Bowl phase, this and that." I'm like, "Yeah, but they still have a really solid team there. I've always
And a
believed
great
in Mc
defense.
Yeah, like, they still got Fist back there and Verse,
Mhm.
my two Florida State Seminoles guys that
Yeah.
helped paving the way. So, I pretty much still have faith in that team all in all. So I still have them as the first one. For two, I think Arizona is going to actually surprise a lot of people. May have a little run. Um, Maybe shoot have 5 games in a row where they're just like undefeated. Making
Yeah.
some noise. Um, I'm also banking too that Kyler is going to snap out of it and actually just go off this year and prove everybody wrong. Everybody's always been saying, yeah, he should have just been playing for the age right now and just, he's a much better pitcher, whatever he's at. But I think they're going to shock a lot of people. I like the tight end they have. I believe his name is McBride.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh, they still got Buddha back there. They just re-signed a vet, Calais Campbell. They got him back
Yeah.
from his Super Bowl days, and yeah, I think they're gonna be straight. I think third. I don't think they're gonna really do too much this year because they're kind of in that revamp stage themselves. But I think I'm gonna take Seattle on this one as third.
Okay.
Because ultimately I think Sam himself is a pretty decent quarterback to kind of like, just kind of throw him in there, and I think he's gonna make the most out of it. Um, their running backs are pretty much still young. I think that they can kind of just help carry that from the second and third downs, even just drop offs. They've added Cooper Cup now that they got pretty much rid of DK, so I think that
Mhm.
he's going to be a real liable target. Don't think it's going to be enough to get them really anywhere, but I could see them probably winning about maybe 7, 8 games.
Yeah.
So I'll have them in like the third slot, kind of having their moments, but not really battling to see who's going to take first or trying to sneak in into the playoffs from that division. And then I'll probably have the Niners. I will have the Niners at last because I just think totally together they're still trying to figure things out. Especially when they last went to the Super Bowl a few years ago. I don't think that is going to be anything crazy with them. I've always kind of felt, me personally, Brock Purdy was overrated.
Yeah.
Um, and in terms of defense, they just really haven't had anybody solidify. That's like, yeah, that's the heart and soul of that team. They got Lenore, I know, is on one side of the corner, and I forget the other guy that they got from FSU, but they have a lot of work to do. And I just feel like the Niners are taking just a little bit step down this year.
Okay. So do you have the Cardinals making the playoffs, and do you think Kyler can lead them to the playoffs?
I believe, I
Yeah.
believe he will.
Okay.
I'm actually an anonymous friend of mine is actually a season ticket holder this year, so he's like, "Yeah, you should come over to State Farm Arena and come with me," you know. And I was like, "Yeah, I definitely want to see Kyler and hoping that he'll lead the charge."
One thing about Kyler Murray, like I say, I've always watched him play, even since Oklahoma when he was over there in Oklahoma. This man might have the quickest feet as a quarterback I've ever seen. Like this man looked like the Road Runner from the Looney Tunes. Like his legs just the whole bunch of like he's so fast, but he taking little steps the whole time. It's like man, I'm just like God, man, this man like when you see Lamar running, you see Lamar he got the juke, but he has a good stride. Kyler don't stride. Kyler just was
And
kind
he's not
of
even like
wild.
doesn't look like he's going fully either. He's just like, I'm just pacing.
Yeah. So so it seems like me and you are both on the same board. I'm actually surprised in that. I thought I was gonna be on a an island with the Cardinals having been so good, just like kind of like the Giants. But you have the Cardinals making the playoffs. Okay. Now the NFC North. The honestly, in my opinion, the best division in the NFL. The probably best division in this whole entire NFL. I have winning the division. I had the Packers, and I had the Packers winning the division even before Michael was there. I thought Packers were just. I'm a believer in Jordan Love. I like Jordan Love. What's it called? A lot of people are saying I love Love, so that's what I'm a big believer in him. I watched him play for a while. I coming out of the draft, people were like, "Who's Jordan Love?" And I told people that year, I was like, they need to start him and let Aaron Rodgers go. And I had some Packers fans. I had friends that were Packers fans. I was like, dude, I was like, Jordan Love needs to start, and Packers need to let him go, let Aaron Rodgers go. They're like, no, Rodgers is a Packer for life. I'm like, guys, no, he's not. Like, let him start. And Jordan Love's getting better and better every season. I know last year in the playoffs, I think he threw 3 picks against the Eagles, I think it was. And I had egg on my face that time because I put a bet on the Packers to beat the Eagles. And I'm sitting there watching Jordan Love like what? Like, you just throw 3 picks. But I think he's going to have a better season this year. I think the Packers, especially now with Micah, like I said, I had this pick before the Micah trade, but now with Micah over there, I believe they're going to have a great D line. They already have a good defense. They have a good coach on the floor. They have a good run game with what's his name? He was the Raiders running back before, and now he's with the Packers. I can't remember his name.
Jacobs.
Yeah, Jacobs. So Jacobs at the running game. I just believe the Packers are going to come out there, have a great season, win about 12, 13 games, and honestly make the playoffs and win that division. Second in the division now. Was a hard pick, but I have them making the playoffs as well. I have the Bears being second in the division. I think Caleb's going to take a big step up this year. I think Caleb's going to have a good season. I think Ben Johnson is going to go in there and just show Caleb how it's done about the offensive side. And I think Caleb's going to have a really good bounce back season, just like how Goff did good with McVay. Then he came to the Lions. Well, I should say this: but like Goff, when Goff started with Fisher, and he had a coach that didn't really know what he was doing there, and Goff looked horrible. Then he went to McVay. Goff looked like a top 10, top 10 quarterback in the league. Last year, he goes with Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson. He goes out there and looks like a top 6, top 7 quarterback in the league. So now I think that's what's going to happen with Caleb. I think Caleb's going to learn you can't just throw the ball away. You can't just run around forever and take a sack. You can throw the ball away. If you see it, he's going to have a better offensive scheme. So I think the Bears, with a lot of their signings, how good their offensive line is this year, with how good their defense is probably going to be, with Ben Johnson being a great coach, I believe he's going to be a really good offensive side coach, and he has good minds around him that's going to make the defense as good as well. So I have the Bears, and I think they're making the playoffs. Third in the division, I had the Lions, and I have the Lions making the playoffs too. I think this is going to be a division where 3 teams are going to make it the playoffs in this division. So I have the Lions being third in that division, getting a wild card spot. I was torn between them and the Bears, but I like Dan Campbell, but I honestly want to say that losing Ben Johnson is Aaron Glenn. I think I want to say right is Aaron Glenn. Losing both of those guys, a defensive coordinator, an offensive coordinator, it's going to hurt them a lot. It's gonna. I just believe they're gonna have to make a big change with their schemes. I'm not sure. Dan Campbell. Don't get me wrong. Do I think he's a good coach? I think he's a good coach, as in like, who can I compare it to? I think he's a good coach, like how John Madden was a good coach, where he's not really like a scheme coach. He's more of a motivator. He's going to sit there and motivate his team. He's going to back his guys, and you're going to want to play for him, just like how people want to play for John Madden. And John Madden, when he was a coach, he had good offensive and defensive coordinators to help him with schemes and different things. And yes, I know the head coach is in charge, but at the same time, I just think losing the best defensive coordinator in the league. It's either Aaron Glenn, in my opinion, Aaron Glenn or Robert Sala were the two best defensive coordinators. And
Yeah.
Aaron Glenn being gone, now you lost the best the defensive coordinator. Ben Johnson easily was the best offensive coordinator in the NFL last year, and they're gonna lose him. I know they're gonna have Gibbs still there. I know they're gonna have a great team still. I know Hutchinson is coming back this year, so a lot of people are banking on Hutchinson having a great year. But I have them making the playoffs, but I have the Lions finishing third. And last in the division, which, like I said, this team's going to be good too. They're going to be a good squad because I believe in JJ McCarthy. I think JJ McCarthy is going to be a decent quarterback in this league. But I'm taking the Lions. I'm taking the Vikings last in the division. I think it's a big step down and quarterback skill wise. From I'm not saying JJ would never get to where Sam Darnold skill wise is at, but I think JJ is a worse quarterback. I don't know if JJ is going to be able to do what Sam Darnold did last year with Justin Jefferson and those guys. He has a good defense, he has a good offensive line and stuff, but he's technically a rookie. This man played two, or was it? He played like two drives, and then hurt towards meniscus, and he was out for the year. And now he's basically being a rookie coming in this year, and I think it's going to be a big step down for them. I think the Vikings win about maybe 6 games, and they have an okay season, but I think they're building for the future. So I have the Vikings finishing last.
Yeah, I mean, I think things were pretty much solidified with Jordan Love since that wild card matchup with Dallas a few years ago.
Hmm.
When they just came into Cowboy Stadium and just since the first snap was just annihilating them from both
Yeah.
sides of the ball, and you know them still having Jair Alexander on one side, that was already good. I forget who the safety is, but for sure adding Micah has just definitely intensified their odds of just making a deep playoff run. So I wouldn't even be surprised if they even go deeper this year, just right off the bat, just because they have that excitement coming into the season. So I
Yeah.
have them definitely at number one. Um, just because I grew up watching SC, and I was always a Caleb fan, so I'm hoping they take that jump this year because I am a fan of the fact that they have Ben Johnson now.
Hmm.
Um, the offensive line, to your point, they've definitely got tremendously better. They've always had some. I feel like they were always sleepers when it came down to having weapons on the offense outside of the ball.
Yeah.
Um, and defensive guys, like pretty much, they're always in and out every year, but when it comes down to it, people are like, I can't even name half of them, but they're always going to be there making these plays.
Yeah.
So I definitely feel like Chicago's going to take a big jump this year, especially with Caleb now having his, some years under his belt, and knowing how to pretty much set himself up. I think third, third, I'm gonna have Detroit in there. You
Yep.
know, they practically to me still have the same team, even with Jared Goff. He's gonna put up his numbers. He's gonna, do these check downs and have his completions and stuff like that. Most of the time, he usually has his best games on like a Monday night or sometimes on just like a late Thursday or sorry, a late Sunday. Um, but all in all, I feel like between them and Chicago, I feel like Chicago's taking that step, but Detroit's kind of went down because they've lost their coordinators.
Hmm.
So I don't really see them doing too much this year. Maybe a 6 or 7 team win. And then the Vikings, obviously, because they're deciding to go with McCarthy, it's like, man, like in my opinion, like how you gonna do that to JJ? How you gonna do that to Justin Jefferson? Like they
Yeah.
deserve to be better than that. Um, I don't really like even looking at them from the preseason, of who they've acquired from the draft and the players that they're choosing to get, and they're undrafted people. I'm like, man, I don't really see I don't really see that spark just yet, and maybe they're just trying to like hide it from everybody and just being like, man, wait till week one. But as far as having McCarthy there to kind of lead the way, I just think that it's not ideal, and I was never really a fan of him, even coming out of Michigan. So
Hmm.
just kind of one of those things where I don't really see them progressing or making that leap.
Okay, so Packers, Bears, Lions, Vikings, correct? That's how you
Yep,
went. And then you
yep.
have the line. Well, let me see if I heard you correct, because I think that's your surprise that you said so far. Like you had the Lions missing the playoffs, right? 'Cause I heard 6 or 7 wins, and that's not enough to get to the playoffs. So you have the missing.
Yeah, I don't think
Okay.
Detroit. make it this year.
And then you think the Bears get in?
I have faith that they will, kind of like
Okay.
in the same boat of like Arizona, like they're just that sleeper team, like they made that jump.
Okay. So now getting to your division, the NFC South. We got we got the Buccaneers, the Falcons, the Saints, and the Panthers. So obviously, I feel like this is gonna be a landslide. Who's gonna win that division? I feel like it's almost like the Bills in the first for the East and the AFC. Buccaneers are going to win that division. I believe the Buccaneers have a chance to be the number one seed in the NFL. Just looking at their schedule, how good their offense is, how they drafted, they got new weapons for Baker. Mike Evans is going to be healthy. They have a good defense. They have a good coach. I just think everything is going right for the Bucs this season. I'm a big Baker Mayfield fan. I think he's shown over the last 3 years now this man is easy a top seven, top eight quarterback in the league. And then when it gets to the playoffs, he turns from top seven, top eight to about top five, top four. Because Baker in the playoff has been putting up numbers. Back to where he played against the Chiefs when he brought the Browns to the playoffs. He took the Browns. Some people forget that. The last time the Browns made the playoffs was when what's his name was the quarterback. Baker Mayfield was the quarterback. And I remember they played the Chiefs that year. Chiefs made the Super Bowl. There was so dumb roughing call that got the Chiefs a first down on third down. They were a yard short on I think it was on fourth down actually. They were a yard short. They got a roughing call. Chiefs go and get the first down, 5 yards from the end zone. They score. They win the game. And I was sitting there like Baker was about to take the Cleveland Browns to the AFC Championship game, but they got a roughing call, and I'm sitting there thinking like, how y'all just did Baker dirty, but Baker does really well in playoff time, and I think he's gonna have a really good season. I think Baker Mayfield is going to be in that MVP conversation when we all said and done at the end of the year, with the Bucs having a chance to finish first or second in the whole entire league. So I have the Bucks winning that division. I'm just gonna write it down right now, as I'm pretty sure you have the Bucks winning the division. So I'm just writing it down yours. So the Bucks, I have the Bucks finishing first. Second, I have the Panthers. I think I like Bryce Young. I liked Bryce Young for a while. Honestly, coming out of college, I was a guy that said Bryce Young was better than CJ. I thought Bryce Young was going to be a better quarterback than CJ, and that's kind of like, I mean, looking at it, is there any Alabama quarterbacks that were really ever like that were actually out of college that were really that good? I mean, you have Tua, but like that's about it. And I should have said CJ was better, but I just like Bryce. When I watched Bryce, he threw a tight spiral. He was very accurate in college. Yeah, he's a little small, but he's just a really good quarterback. And we seen last year, towards the end of the year, Bryce started picking it up. Bryce was at the beginning of the year. Bryce was everyone was saying he's fallen off. He's a bust, and we heard a lot of bad things about Bryce. And he fell to where I want to say somewhere between that 23rd to 30th quarterback range, where he was in the bottom tier of quarterbacks. By the end of the year, Bryce was playing like a top 15 quarterback in the league. Bryce started showing those flashes that I thought we were going to see the Bryce that came to the NFL. They started winning games at the end of the year. I think Bryce is going to have a good season this year. I see them winning about 8 or 9 games this year, and I think the Panthers are actually going to have a decent season this year with Bryce Young showing that he can play. So I have the Panthers finishing in second. Third, I had the Falcons. I think a lot of people would have the Falcons second, but I just think the Panthers are going to do a little better. I'm a big fan of Bijan Robinson. I like that running back. Last year, I thought he would be the offensive player of the year. I thought he was going to have a great season, but it seems like the Falcons are the reason why he's going to have it last year. The Falcons were saying, you know what, we're going to let Kirk Cousins throw the ball more than hand the ball off to Bijan Robinson. I'm sitting there like, that's a horrible decision. Let Bijan run the ball. So Bijan kind of got held back by his own organization. And I think next year he's going to have a good year. I mean, this year, he's going to have a really good year. I think he's going to be in the offensive player of the year talk again. I think he's going to be up there. I think they're finally going to let him run the ball a lot, because it's going to be either you either let him run the ball or you're going to have Michael Penix throw it, which I like Michael Penix, but he's a finished product already. He's up there in age. I think he played. I might be wrong, but I think I'm right. I think he played about like 5 or 6 years in college. Like, he's up there in age. He's already a finished product. He's not going to get better than what we saw last year. And I was saying in the beginning of the year, I thought they should have started Michael Penix before Kirk Cousins, and they went and paid Kirk Cousins a whole bunch of money, which I don't understand what they were doing. But it's going to be a running offense. They're going to be having, you're going to see a lot of Penix dropping back, running the ball. You're going to see a lot of Bijan handoffs, getting the ball. Bijan's going to probably have I want to say like a, almost like a Chris McCaffrey year where he's going to be catching the ball, running the ball. He's going to be getting these schemes drawn up just for Bijan. So I think it's going to be the Bijan Robinson show and the Falcons, but I don't think that's going to lead to a lot of wins just because I just can't see Penix doing enough to get him those wins to be second or even first in the division. So third out of the Falcons. And the last team in the division where I'm a hands down say this right now, they're going to be the worst team in the NFL. They're going to have the worst record of the NFL. It's going to be the New Orleans Saints. They're it seems like I feel like they're kind of gonna try to do bad this year, so they want to get that quarterback. I'm not sure. I think Spencer Rattler is starting for them. I'm not sure if that's who's starting, but yeah, the Saints just don't have a good team. They don't have a good offensive line. Their defense, I mean, their defense is always decent. It seems like the Saints always have a really good defense, but their quarterback is not good. Their running game is not good. Their offensive line is not good. Spencer Rattler is not even a starting quality quarterback in this league. I don't even know if he can be a second string quarterback in this league, but they're starting him. And I think the Saints are going to have a really bad season. I see the Saints winning maybe 2, 3 games this year. So I think the Saints are going to be probably the worst team in the NFL. So I have the Saints finishing last.
Yeah, man. I mean, we're pretty much in the same boat in terms of our predictions, and right on the same page. Obviously, got to roll with my Bucks first.
Yeah.
We've just gotten better and stronger. Just adding on to everything that we've had since last year. We got Bucky Irving in the backfield. We got
hmm
Rashad
I
backup.
made I made so much. I sorry to cut you off. I made so much money on Bucky Irving last year. I swear nobody was betting his props because no one knew who he was. And I'm sitting there like over, over, anytime touchdown, Bucky Irving. I was like, guys, this guy is making me a whole bunch of money last year. I go on. Sorry about that.
No, no worries. I mean, yeah, he was definitely a fantasy killer for a lot of people, just
hmm
racking up points. Nothing. I think he was averaging like almost a first down every touch.
Yeah.
So definitely we have him. We got Rashad definitely as a second down back. We still got our tight ends and stuff, Payne Durham and Kate Otten. Um, obviously we got a hell of a receiving core. We still got the vet Mike Evans. We got Godwin coming back from his ACL injury, which I believe he shouldn't even got hurt. It was like the last play of the fucking season.
Yeah.
Uh, he ends up getting hurt, but he's going to be coming back. We added Ibuka from Ohio State. I'm really excited about that pick, and he's going to be a
Great pick.
definitely a go-to receiver. We
I
dropped a
was
couple things.
Oh, sorry. I keep cutting you off, but I was talking to one of my followers on the Wager Zone. He
Mhm.
follows my Instagram, and he's messaging me about the NFL season before the draft. And he's a Buccaneers fan, and he was telling me that he was saying, "What do you got? What do you think we need in the draft?" I told him, I said they need to get another receiver. I was like, I think Ibuka is the perfect spot for them. I was like, they can draft him. He was telling me, I think we need the defensive side. I think your defense is straight. I was especially with the coaching staff they have over there. I was like, if they get Ibuka, it's Emeka Ibuka, right? I think it's Emeka Ibuka, but I think it's his first
Yeah,
name. But when I said, if they get Emeka Ibuka, this offense is going to be the best offense in the league next year. And then boom, they drafted Ibuka, and I was like, perfect. I was like, this is perfect for Baker.
especially because they just was able to give him back his college number, which is number 2, because he was number
hmm
9 coming into preseason. But I'm like, oh yeah, they shouldn't have done that. They kind of messed up on that, giving back his number. We still
Yeah.
got Jack McMillan from Washington, so he's going to be good. He had like a little scare against Pittsburgh during the preseason, but he has a little sprained neck. He should be back by week 2 or 3. I'm assuming. We had another creeper receiver that we signed last minute last year, the veteran Sterling Shepard. He's been coming up a lot. So as far as offense, you already know, like we're gonna be straight from there. Defense, pass rushing, everything's gonna be gravy from there. We got Antoine Wilfield coming back, so hopefully, if he can stay healthy at that free safety position, he's going to help a lot over the top because we was just people were. It didn't matter if it was a second or third string quarterback from the
hmm
sorry. People were just wasn't hesitant to go over the top because we knew we didn't have that guy back there.
Yeah.
And then we still got Zay McCollum as well from Washington going in. It's about his third season, I believe. He's going to be good on one side of the ball. The only Achilles heel that I feel like we've had pretty much since post Brady era is that other side of the corner, and is everybody knows as a Bucks fan is Jamal Dean, number 35. So this is that make it or break it year for him. He just seems to get
That's
lost.
that. Then just remembering right now, that's what one of my followers he said. I think his name is Paul. But if Paul, if you're watching this, I'm talking about you. But he said he said we need a cornerback. He said I think we should get a cornerback in the first round. He says that's what we need. And I mean I kind of agreed. I was like, but I just think the just build up the offense. I was like, just give Baker some weapons, and Baker can overcome that. I believe.
Yeah. So that's feel like that's really our like I said our only Achilles heel on that side of the defense or on one side of the corner. But hopefully he can prove us all wrong and actually do his thing this year. But that's why I'm also happy of who we also drafted outside of Emeka Buka this year, which was we dressed the cornerback position, which we got Parrish from Kansas State and what's his name Bryce Morrison I believe out of Notre Dame.
Hmm.
So, and depth wise, I feel like it's no excuses. Like as long as we all stay healthy this year, we're gonna make a deep run. So,
If Chris Godwin never got hurt, I think they would have been so much better in the playoffs. I think they could have got past the
oh,
Commanders
definitely,
if Chris Godwin never got hurt. And like you said, he got hurt literally the last. I think it was the last two or the last drive at least in the season. It was like man, it was like come on, he's gone.
yeah, it was like pointless, and we didn't even need to run the play. I think actually, now I think about it, it was against Baltimore. And it was like,
Oh,
oh
okay.
man, we weren't gonna really win, but like they still ran a play the last game or last play, and I'm like, dude, why? He didn't even need to be out there like that.
Yeah.
So that was tragic, but he's definitely gonna come back stronger. We all know what he's capable of. Second, I'm also going to take Carolina. I'm also a fan of Bryce Young. Um, I believe they added what's his name, McMillan out of Arizona this year as a high draft
Hmm.
pick. So I think he's going to be a stud. It's right on top of my tongue, but there's another receiver that they had drafted that's been making noise since training camp. So Bryce is going to have some weapons, and we know what he can do. Like as you said earlier, he has those tight spirals. He can get the ball to anybody really when he has the time in the pocket.
Hmm.
Um, their defense for the most part is good to held up on their own, enough to get the ball back in Bryce's hands. So I have them as the second runner up in the South. Um, as third, I mean, honestly, I think I'm just gonna skip that and just say, I mean, honestly, New Orleans is gonna be last.
And they're like, aren't even like just like New Orleans is like I said, the worst team in the NFL, man.
Yeah, it's not really much. The fact that they even named Spencer Rattler, which I'm like, who do they think this guy really is? Because he's not. I don't really see what they see in him, but I
He
mean, like,
wasn't good at Oklahoma.
yeah, he really wasn't. And I mean, like, I guess at this point in time, like, as a team overall, all you have is Alvin Kamara, and I'm like, God knows how long he's gonna be like, okay, like, this is my last season before, hey, trade me or do something.
Yeah, like I don't understand what they were thinking. Like, but like you said, but the Falcons third, Saints. So me and you are basically on par with that. So let's see what now. Those are all of our predictions for the division. So let's go through our playoffs for the NFC. Let's see what we have different here. See, me and you are the you have the Niners finishing last in that division, but we both agreed that Rams and Cardinals made the playoffs. We think those are going to be the two playoff teams out of there. We both have the Packers and Bears. We're basically on par with the North. We both think the Packers and Bears made the playoffs, but the one thing we have different on that is you have the Lions missing the playoffs. I'm a man. That one kind of surprised me. I was like, man, the Lions missing the playoffs. I could see it. Like I said, people don't understand coordinators mean a lot, and I tell people this all the time. Basketball, NBA is a player sport. Players control it. Players control the outcomes to games. Baseball is a GM sport. GMs control who they
Yeah,
buy, who they get into the team because there's no cap. GM sport. Football is a coaching sport. Football, it's all about your coaches a lot. Like I know players can only do so much, but coaches got to have right schemes. They got to have good plays for you. So I think football is a coaching sport. So I'm kind of on par with that. I can see it because missing coordinators are a big thing. Now we're on par with the South. We both think the Bucks win the division. We think the Bucks are going to be the best team in that division, but we're on par with everything in there. And then the one thing we have different in the East is I have the Eagles. I mean, I have the Giants finishing second. You have the Commanders, but I have the I have the Giants second. So my playoff teams, I made my decision on the Cardinals or Giants. So my playoff teams for the NFC are Eagles, Cardinals, Rams, Packers, Bears, and Bucks. Those are my 7 playoff teams out of the NFC. Your 7 are Eagles, Commanders, Rams, Cardinals, Packers, Bears, Bucks. So I think the only different meaning you have is you have the Commanders making the playoffs, and instead I have the Lions. So that seems like those are the difference we have. So now let's after those predictions, let's get into your AFC Championship game. Who? Well, I'll say mine first. Actually, you go first. Who's going to be your AFC Championship game, and I'll go after you.
Hmm. Man, I've been that was actually on my mind. I'm still like tearing back and forth about before we got on this predictions, but
Yeah.
definitely, I would say I'm definitely gonna put Baltimore in there. Um, oh,
You see Ravens. Okay, you got the Ravens already. Let me see Ravens.
right.
And who the Ravens playing? Who you got the Ravens playing?
Hmm. I think if they can actually surprisingly beat KC, I would like to see a Denver in Baltimore.
Denver and Baltimore. Oh, that's a big surprise. You know what's funny? You know my boy. If you're watching this, I'm talking about you. But you know my boy Travis. That's
Travis.
literally yeah. That's his. That's literally his AFC Championship game. He's a Broncos fan, so I was like, you just got a little Broncos, a little heart in you. But here's out here saying the Broncos gonna make it too. So the Broncos and Ravens. Okay, Broncos and Ravens in the AFC Championship game. My AFC Championship game, I have the Ravens as well. We both agree the Ravens going to the AFC Championship. We both have the Ravens, but the one thing we have different on it is the same exact thing. If they can surprise some people, I mean, I feel like it's not a surprise, but they haven't done it yet, so it might be a surprise. If they can beat the Chiefs, I think Josh Allen and the Bills are going to be in the AFC Championship game. We're going to see a Bills and Ravens AFC Championship. The Bills just can't beat Kansas City. I saw a crazy stat the other day. Manning, and people. So for some reason, people always say Brady owned Manning. I mean, I get it. Yeah, in the regular season, he kind of beat Manning a lot, and he has more rings. But if you look at the playoffs, they played 3 times in the playoffs, and Manning won 2 of them. Brady only won 1. So it seems like in the playoffs, Manning was ended up beating Brady. But I feel like I saw that where I've seen a lot of these records where people were 0-2, 0-3 against their 2 quarterbacks in the NFL. Josh Allen is 0-4. No other quarterback, and they're still young. No other quarterback has went 0-4 against an opposition quarterback like that in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
So Josh Allen's 0-4. So that's why I said if they can just beat the Chiefs and get past that hump, where they do it in the regular season, but it seems like every single time the playoffs come, one last drive, they lose. They lose at the end every single time to the Chiefs. But I think this is the year the Bucks beat the Chiefs and end going to the AFC Championship game. So your AFC Championship game, Ravens versus Broncos, mine Bills versus Ravens. So we both agree on the Ravens. So now, who is your NFC Championship game?
Um. Well, since I went first on the AFC side, I'll let you
Oh,
go
you want me
first.
to go? Okay, I'll go
Yeah.
first. Let me see. NFC Championship game, of course, I got the Rams. I think the Rams, like I said, I think the Rams are going to be a great team. They were one offside, some dumb offsides call, not dumb by the referees because it was offsides, but more of a mental slip from the most unpenalized team in the NFL last year. A mental slip when you need it the most, where they were so this close to beating the Eagles. They did not get that offensive side call.
Oh.
Stafford probably throws the ball into the end zone, wins the game. Stafford leads them into a NFC Championship last year and knocks off the Eagles, and we see a Rams and Commanders NFC Championship game. So I have the
It
Rams
snowed in that
going,
game, wasn't it?
huh?
Was it like snowing that game or
It
like
was
raining really
snowing too. I even told someone, I was like, if it wasn't snowing, the Rams would have won that game. But one thing about the Rams, we have Kyron Williams in our back pocket. Kyron Williams is a great running back, but the Rams are a passing team. We were throwing balls to Puka out there. I think Tutu Atwell was out there as well. We had a good and Cooper Cup. We had a lot of offensive weapons. We were throwing. We were a passing team. And in the snow, you can't really throw the ball. So it's like it was a running game. The game going into the game before I knew it was snowing, I told everybody the Rams are going to beat the Eagles. I was like, the Rams are going to beat the Eagles. Last year, my Super Bowl prediction last year was Rams and Ravens, and I had the Ravens win the Super Bowl. That was my prediction last year, and both of them lost in the same exact round. And I was sitting here like, damn. But the Rams going to that game, I was like, we're going to beat the Eagles. We're going to do it. And then when I saw it was snowing, I was like, guys, I'm sticking to my guns. The Rams can do it. But I'm gonna tell you right now, this game is tailor made for the Eagles. In the snow, you got Barkley. One thing people don't understand in cold weather, what travels is your defense and your running game. The
Yeah.
Rams had the defense. We just didn't have the running game. Don't get me wrong, Kyron Williams is a very good running back, but compared to Saquon Barkley, and we got Jalen Hurts, and with the offensive line doing the tush push, like it was tailor made for them to win, and we still almost won the game. It was so close. But this year, I think the Rams go to the NFC Championship game, and I think we're going to show everybody this year, as long as Stafford's healthy, which I believe he stays healthy, even if he gets injured mid-season, let's start off hot, sit him a couple games in midseason because he is older and his back does hurt sometimes. So sit him out a little bit. Let Jimmy G come in again because in the middle of the season we have kind of a cakewalk, like a little bit, and then towards the end we start picking up our games. But put Jimmy G in a little bit. Let Jimmy G go like 2-1 in like 3 games, maybe like 2-1. Jimmy G can win. One thing, Jimmy G, he ain't that good as a quarterback, but he wins games. So go let Jimmy G play a little bit, win a couple games, put Stafford back in right when we need him the most, and then go off at the end of the season, get hot. NFC Championship games, Rams. On the opposite side of the NFC Championship game, I went back and forth on these two teams because I thought this team was going to be one of the best teams in the NFL, but I thought that after the Micah trade, I had to probably think about them going. I was thinking about putting the Packers in the NFC Championship game, but I got the Buccaneers. I think it's going to be our teams meeting in the NFC Championship game. I think it's going to be the Rams versus the Bucks. I think Baker Mayfield is going to lead the Bucks to the NFC Championship game, and I think it's going to be the Rams and Bucks in the NFC side.
I mean, you pretty much took the words out of my mouth.
Oh
Like
yeah.
every detail, I was gonna put Philly, but I'm like, no. I feel like if this year, if we're really that healthy, we can give them a run for their money. I mean, we knocked them off in the regular season last year with no
Hmm.
problem, home. So I feel like it'd be no different. Only this time we're really loaded, and I think we could take down both Saquon and Jalen. I mean, just for the simple fact, if we can just keep him in the pocket and force him to throw, I think we have a better shot of actually containing him. So
Hmm.
I think we can actually get over that hump and face y'all.
Oh yeah, so you have the Rams too.
Yeah.
Okay, so we both on the NFC Championship, it's like NFC Championship side. We both got the Bucks and Rams. That would be great, guys. We sitting here. I'm a Rams fan. He's a Buccaneers fan. We're gonna be here. If that happens in the NFC Championship, guys, we are going. Probably, I swear, we're gonna go live. I swear, and we're gonna watch the game like together. I'm like, nah, we're gonna win
Yeah.
this game. So, so let
Yeah.
me
And
see.
even from just
Rams.
like from our um from our prediction and from our perspective, like even outside of that, I mean, just from the viewership on them, like that would feed families.
Oh yes, that would be a great game. Baker Mayfield going against Matthew Stafford in the what's the NFC Championship game. Those two, both of them are clutch quarterbacks. Both of them were number one overall picks. So it'll be a great game. So now we have Bills. I have Bills Ravens. We agree on 3 teams in the NFC in the championship games because we both got the Ravens, we both got the Bucks and versus Rams, but we just differ where you got the Broncos and I got the Bills. So who's in the Super Bowl and who wins and why?
Hmm. I feel like I feel like this year, just despite of the adversity of what they've been through the last few years, and everybody's been kind of going for them, but then counting them out. It's always like this up and down thing. I feel like Lamar is finally going to get his ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least I
So
would hope so. But I think he'll do it again this year.
so Ravens and who do you have the Ravens playing? I mean, I feel like I know the answer, but who do you have the Ravens playing in the Super Bowl?
I feel like the Rams.
The Rams. So you have my prediction last year being this year's. I had the Ravens, and you said the Ravens win the Super Bowl, correct?
Yeah,
That was literally exactly what I had last year. I had the Ravens and Rams me in the Super Bowl, and I thought the Ravens would get it done. So you took my prediction last year, and now it's going to be this year. Maybe I was a year behind. Maybe it's what happened. Maybe I was just a year behind. So Ravens, Rams, Ravens win the Super Bowl this year. That's crazy. Me and you both have the same team going to the Super Bowl. But my Super Bowl matchup, I got the Bills and Rams in the Super Bowl. I think, and I have the Bills winning. Like I'm a Rams fan, but I have the Bills winning. I think Josh Allen breaks that Bills curse. I think how many Super Bowls have they went to and they've lost all of them? I think they went to four in a row and they lost every single one. Like
everything.
it's kind of crazy. So I think Josh Allen's gonna eventually gonna break that curse. I like Lamar Jackson, but he needs to show me. It's almost like I don't want to. I've been saying this is who he reminds me of, like NBA wise, but reminds me of James Harden to where all the numbers in the regular season has everything going for him. His team's playing well. He's playing well. And then right when he gets to that spot, he doesn't show up. And this is the second time I would be taking him in the the AFC Championship game, and I just don't. I can't pick him again. I can't pick him back to back years. So I'm going the Bills making the Super Bowl. Bills versus Rams, and I think the Bills win it because I like Josh Allen so much. Last year, do you guys remember my predictions last year? People were on my comments last year telling me that's a crazy dumb pick. I bet Josh Allen at a plus 800 to win MVP in the beginning of the season, and people were like, "Oh, that's a dumb pick. Josh Allen just lost Stephon Diggs. He's not going to do that as good." And I was like, "Guys, watch. It's going to be the Josh Allen show, and this guy's going to win MVP." And to win the MVP. And I think this year is going to be that step forward where he ends up being the Super Bowl MVP, MVP of the league, and he gets the Bills over that hump. And now then we're going to start looking at Josh Allen. Is he better than Patrick Mahomes? Not saying as an overall history wise, but saying is he right now a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes? So those are our division and the Super Bowl predictions, guys. I got Bills Rams. Bills win the Super Bowl. He's got Ravens, Rams, and Ravens win the Super Bowl. We both have the Rams win the Super Bowl. But I'm telling you this right now, I'm gonna be sitting there praying we win the Super Bowl. But if we come down to the Bill, I just don't think I think the Bills will beat us. So now those are our predictions for the divisions and our Super Bowl. Now let's get into the awards. Let's get into the awards for the season now. It's gonna be we're gonna go over MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year. I feel like Defensive Rookie of the Year is honestly going to be pretty unanimous pick across. I feel like that one is like I feel like everyone knows almost who's going to win Defensive Player of the Year, or Defensive Rookie of the Year, because he just like looks like he's already a seasoned vet. Then we're going to go Comeback Player of the Year because that's last year. I got three of my predictions right. Last year, I got the MVP right. Like I said, I got Josh Allen. Comeback Player of the Year, I picked Joe Burrow. And I can't remember what was the third one. I can't remember the third award, but I got three of the awards correct last year. So, Comeback Player of the Year and then Coach of the Year. We're going to go through all those predictions now. So, I'll go first on MVP. I got Joe Burrow winning MVP. I think if the Bengals are going to make the Super Bowl, make the playoffs this year and actually make some noise in the playoffs, I think Joe Burrow is going to have an amazing season. They're going to need him to have an amazing season. I think if last year, if Joe Burrow's defense would have just played how they should have played and he would have made the playoffs, I think Joe Burrow had a good chance to win the MVP last year. But the team record, they just could not give it to him. They gave it to Josh Allen. And I think Joe Burrow is going to make the playoffs this year. I think they're going to have a great season. Joe Burrow is going to put up monster numbers, probably break some records, possibly because his offense is nasty, and especially with him throwing the ball. Skill wise, I think Joe Burrow might be the best quarterback in this league, just straight throwing the ball and how accurate he is. So my MVP prediction for this year is Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with that, just from how everything played out since last season. I wouldn't see why he wouldn't win the MVP this year. And If they just really, or him himself really hasn't lost anything, I feel like he can only, like, the ceiling is, you can only go up from here. So I feel like really it's destined for him to win MVP this year.
Yeah. All right. So now who is your offensive player of the year? Who's going to win offensive player of the year? You think?
I would just say Saquon.
Saquon go do it again?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's that man is just he's out of this world, man.
Saquon Barkley. Yeah, Saquon Barkley, man. I kind of looked dumb last year. I'm not gonna lie. I was telling people last year that I thought Saquon Barkley is not a. I mean, I guess I'm kind of. I feel like I'm kind of right, but at the same time, with how great his season went last year, I just people were like looking like, dang, like you knew nothing about Saquon Barkley because I kind of said that I thought Saquon Barkley was a home run hitter, I guess you can call him. He's
Mhm.
like he's like Mark McGuire, where or that comes into into the box. It's either a strikeout or he's hitting a home run. There's a difference because I was telling people there's a difference between Mark McGuire and Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds is a contact hitter. Barry Bonds can do everything. Barry Bonds can get those little hits. He can get the ball, play the outfield. He can hit home runs. Mark McGuire was either strikeout or home run. Not a really good fielder. So that's why I told people I thought Saquon Barkley was. I thought Saquon Barkley, if you looked at originally, I said I thought his numbers were almost to where he would get 2 yards. This is with the Giants. Last year was a different story. Like I said, he kind of proved me wrong last year. But with the Giants, it was he'll get 2 yards, 2 yards, 3 yards, 2 yards, 1 yard, lose for three, lose 2 yards, and then 70-yard burst. So it was like he was getting over 100, 110 yards, 15 yards every single game, but it was because he would always have that 50-yard, 60-yard run. Eventually he'd break loose, but he'll get little small yards. Not like someone like Derrick Henry or you should say like or Jonathan Taylor, how he was doing, and we can even go to Marshawn Lynch, how they would get 4, 4, 5, 4, 3. Like they would get you a little bit yards. But last year, man, Saquon Barkley with that offensive, I think he just proved that he just needed an offensive line. Like he just needed someone to get him, and he proved that he can do it. So that's all I was to say about Saquon.
Yeah.
Now, my offensive player of the year, I have two people written down, but I have to choose one. I'll tell you who two of them are, but I got to choose one. I got Lamar Jackson or Jamar Chase. And the reason why I'm leaning Lamar Jackson because I kind of don't see the NFL giving two people from the same team MVP and Offensive Player of the Year.
Right.
So it's like I said, if I had Lamar winning MVP, I'd be picking Chase as my Offensive Player of the Year. But Joe Burrow, I believe, is going to have such a great season, and I believe that people are going to say the only reason why Jamar got those numbers because Joe Burrow's throwing it to him. So I guess I'm just going to cross out Jamar Chase because I don't think the NFL would do that. I just think it's just something that's about the NFL. They won't give two people on the same team MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. So I'm going Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson is going to put up numbers where people are going to say he could be in the MVP talk, but with him already having two MVPs and hasn't showed up in the playoffs yet, I think the NFL is kind of going to say, you know what, we're not going to give you an MVP, but we'll give you the Offensive Player of the Year. So I have Lamar Jackson winning Offensive Player of the Year.
I think for this season, and that's actually that's a really good credible pick right there, because I mean it's LJ, like he's gonna put up stuff regardless, to
Yeah.
arguably be there, rather if it's MVP or Offensive Player of the Year. But I think this season I'm gonna go with your second pick outside of him. I'm gonna go with Jamar Chase
So wait, you're going Jamar over Barkley. You're switching it to Jamar.
to
Okay.
yeah.
So you're like Jamar gonna put up numbers, man.
Yeah, it's like effortless for him. Like a lot of the time, I feel like rather if it's a ball he has to go up and get, or just something that just lays right in front of him, like that man doesn't even look tired. He's just like, man, I could play another 4 quarters if I really wanted to. Let's go to a second overtime. You
So
know,
you
like
think so you think the NFL will actually do it? They'll give Joe Burrow an MVP and then the Offensive Player of the Year his receiver. I mean, it could happen. It could
it
happen.
could happen. It could happen. It's wishful thinking. Like I feel like this year they're both gonna have really breakout years, but specifically, yeah, Jamar is just he's gonna go nuts.
Yeah. especially with T Higgins on the other side. You can't double one of them. You can't double.
Uh,
Like you have to be single coverage, and if you double one, the other one's will get the ball. So
yeah.
now, defensive player of the year. Who is your defensive player of the year?
Does rookies count, or just really who's been like a seasoned vet? Like,
You can choose a rookie, but the NFL most likely won't. I mean, has it ever happened before? Hold on, I'm gonna look that up. Let me look that up real quick. I want to know if a rookie's ever won defensive player of the year. So I know they'll get. Let me see.
that's a good question.
Has a rookie ever won defensive player of the year in the NFL? Yes, but only once. In 1971, Mean Joe Green for the Steelers. So it hasn't happened since 1971.
Sheesh, that's crazy.
Because most times they'll just give them defensive rookie of the year. That's the reason I feel like we're getting to that new age where they just won't do that unless it's like unless they come out there and break the sacks record or something like that. Then they'll probably do it. But we seen last year where what's his name deserved to be in the MVP talk. I'm not saying he deserved the MVP, but he deserved to be in the MVP talks. Where Jaden Daniels really deserved to be in the MVP talks, but because he
Yeah,
was a rookie, nobody put him in that talk at all. Everyone was like, "No, he's a rookie. He's give him offensive rookie of the year."
I think this year, to prove his point of why he deserved all, of what he really wanted in Dallas, I think I'm gonna go with Micah.
Micah.
Hmm. Because everybody's saying, oh, he might take a step down. He's dealing with like a L5 or something like that, like in his back. He's not. It's gonna hold him back. And I'm like, nah, like he's really that plug-in player. It just so happens to be Green Bay of what he could add on to that, but he's just a different beast, man. Like whenever you just see Micah, like when he's playing all downs on the football field, like that man literally chases you up and down from the snap is off until when the whistle blows. Like I feel like he's really gonna be leading probably top five in actually sacks this year.
Yeah. You see, I was so close to picking Micah, honestly. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I was gonna if Micah was on the Cowboys, I was gonna pick Micah. I thought Micah was gonna have a great season with the Cowboys. Now going over to the Packers, I think he's gonna get doubled a lot. And I'm not sure he's going to be able to get those sacks as much. And the one thing about Micah, you used to be a Cowboys fan. Like I said, this guy was a Cowboys fan when I grew up with him, but he got tired of Jerry Jones, like most Cowboys fans should do right now. Leave the team until Jerry Jones is gone. So, like he one thing you know about Micah. I thought Micah would start off really hot. He'd get really hot, and then later down the stretch, he would slow down because he gets tired and he wouldn't. But he's getting older. He's getting better. He's getting more in better shape. But I thought what's his name? I think it's the D line the Cowboys drafted in the what's it called in the draft in the second round. I think it's Donovan Ekazu. I think it's Exuku or something like that. I can't remember his name. I think he's gonna have a really good season this year for the Packers, and I thought he was gonna be the reason why that they want to be able to double Micah because they're gonna have to watch him as well and the other guys on offensive line and defensive line. So I was gonna pick Micah Parsons to win. But now when he's the Packers, I feel like that's kind of maybe he still wins. He's still a great player. But now I actually have winning the defensive player of the year. I have Jared Verse. I think the
Mm.
Rams, Jared Verse is gonna. I think the Rams they're gonna have one of the best defenses in the NFL. I think Jared Verse is gonna take a big step up this year. I think he's gonna get those sacks. Last year he was almost on pace before he took that little break. That man was having on pace to break the sacks record. Then he kind of just like I'm gonna take a break now because I think he got tired. I think he hurt his ankle, so he wasn't fully healthy. So but I'm picking Jared Verse. I think Jared Verse has that big bounce up, especially with Fisk on the side with him. I think they're gonna have to choose. They're not gonna be able to double Verse a lot because you have to watch Fisk. And I think Jared Verse can have a lot of the sacks. And I do believe Jared Verse gets the Defensive Player of the Year this year in his second year in the NFL.
Yeah.
Now, Offensive Rookie of the Year. I went with Ashton Genty. I was
Mhm.
debating between Ashton Genty and Cam Ward. I didn't know who I thought was going to get the offensive player because I'm like, it's a quarterback. He's gonna have the ball in his hand more. But Ashton Genty, especially with Pete Carroll now, He really reminds me of Marshawn Lynch, like a young beast mode. Like he has the perfect coach for him as well. I think Genty is going to have the ball in his hands a lot. I think Pete Carroll's going to run the ball, use him as almost like a bail yard back, where he's going to be carrying the ball most of the time on third down. Let Gino throw the ball, and I think they're going to have a lot of screens going to him. I think he's going to have a lot of what is it called? A lot of play action plays where they're going to be giving him the ball. He's going to be able to get those yards. And like you said earlier in the breakdown, I think he's going to get those 1,000 yards. I think he's going to end up getting that 1,000 yards, and I think Ashton Genty is going to end up winning Offensive Rookie of the Year this year.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much my pick too. I just felt like how everything is set up to be with this Pete Carroll offense. Adding Geno into the mix, and what they already have, and obviously drafting Genty. Like it's all there for him. Originally I thought like maybe he would have been shy of not breaking 1,000. Maybe he would have been like 930 or something like that,
Yeah.
just like right above. But like now we're actually really thinking about it, retracing back, like he might actually do it, because now thinking that the Raiders' offensive line it's not the same one from previous years. Even looking at them recently when they played the Cars and like a couple other teams in preseason, I'm like, yeah, they might actually be on pace for him to actually break that record. And who's to say
Hmm.
how he'll next upcoming years? But I think out the gates as his rookie year, he's gonna be just fine, and he's gonna show why he was that top draft pick.
Okay, yep. So we both agree Ashton Genty. I think he's gonna have kind of like a Ezekiel Elliott type first year. How Zeke came into the league and just dominated. I think that's how Ashton Genty is gonna come into the league too. I'm not sure. Did
Yeah,
Zeke go? I think Zeke went over 1,000. I think Zeke got 1,000 in his rookie year. I'm not sure. I think he did though. Now, defensive rookie of the year. I feel like me and you are both gonna be on the same page on this. And you asked the question. You said, "Can I pick a rookie?" So I feel like I think you know who you're gonna say. But defensive player of
oh
the
yeah.
year. Who you got?
For a rookie, I mean, I think it's obvious that Abdul Carter will do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like just saying his name is enough. So you don't even gotta explain why. Abdul Carter is just this man he's young and he looks like a grown ass man. Like this man is in college, he was throwing offensive linemen around. He was doing whatever he wants. He has every move in the book. He has the spin. He can go up and under. He has what is it? I don't remember what it's called, but when they swipe, he has a swipe, the hand swipe. He bro got
Yeah,
everything. Like so, I think Abdul Carter is gonna. I think especially with Dexter Lawrence being there on the line with him, I think Dexter Lawrence is gonna get a lot of the attention, and Abdul Carter is gonna be coming out of that the field and just getting to that backfield and hitting the quarterback a lot. So yeah, I think Abdul Carter is going to have a great season. I think he's the best defensive lineman since Micah to come out of a draft. And I think Abdul Carter is just going to have a great year too. So we both agree on that.
yeah,
So now, and that was the easy pick. I feel like if you're not picking Abdul Carter, I'm like, who you really picking then? I'm like, I don't know any. I don't know really anybody that's going to do what he's going to do. Now, comeback player of the year. I think it's going to come down to these two players for comeback player of the year this year. I think it's going to come down to either Hutchinson with Detroit or Trevor Lawrence. I think it's going to come down to who's going to have the better comeback season this year for comeback player of the year. I'm going Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence has got a lot of shame on his name for a while, and I know Hutchinson's coming off an injury, and he's making a comeback off the injury, and I feel like it's going to come down to the narrative where they're both going to have great seasons. One's coming off an injury, but you kind of expect Hutchinson to come back and have a great year. People are expecting this guy to come back and do what he did before with the Lions. People have written off Trevor Lawrence already. They have written him off. People are saying he's a bust. People are saying he's not good. I've seen people on talk shows saying, "Don't talk about the Jags. Don't talk about Trevor Lawrence. Like he's done." Like I watch First Things First with Nick Wright and those guys, and Chris Broussard and them are just always making fun of Trevor Lawrence because Nick Wright called him the prince that was promised. So I feel like that they always make a lot. Everyone's hopping off the Trevor Lawrence back. The what's it called? The what's the word I'm looking for? Hop bandwagon. They hopped on the bandwagon, saying he's a bust, and I believe it's going to come up to a narrative where I think Hutchinson's going to have a great year, and I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a great year. But I think just because of the narrative that Trevor Lawrence is going to bounce back this year, lead the Jags to the division winner, make the playoffs, and I do believe the Trevor Lawrence is going to have a great year. So my comeback player of the year is going to be Trevor Lawrence.
yeah. I mean, not to see like, yeah, I mean, me too, but pretty
Yeah,
much, yeah.
yeah,
Trevor, man, just even from last year, and even when And pretty much ever since that whole matchup between them and Pittsburgh a few years ago in the playoffs, I was just like, man, yeah, he's gonna have his downs and outs, but all in all, once they get some more pieces around him and he has more comfortability within the organization, I think he's gonna be just fine. Especially this year upcoming. Like, nobody's really expecting him to do anything crazy, but I think
Hmm.
he's gonna make a lot of noise and he's gonna show why they drafted him.
Yeah, so we both agree that Trevor Lawrence, like I said, I think do you agree with that? That Hutchinson's probably gonna have a good year, but it's gonna be more like a narrative thing. How people kind of like just gave up on Trevor now, and now he's gonna show people. So let me see. Now, coach of the year. I think it's going to come down to two coaches. Honestly, just looking at the playoff predictions, well, I don't know who the Cardinals coach is. I can't remember his name. I can't remember who the Cardinals coach is, but
Um,
I think, but I don't have him winning. But I don't have him winning the. I don't know really know his name, but I do believe he's going to be in the conversation. But for coach of the year, I think it's going to honestly come down to either Mike Vrabel with the Patriots, or it's going to come down to I'll give you three nominees I have. I was going back between all three of these guys. I think it's going to be Mike Vrabel with the Patriots. It's going to be or Sean Payton with the Broncos, because I think the Broncos win a division, so I think Sean Payton's going to be up there, and also Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson's going to be in there, be a conversation because what he's going to be able to do with Caleb. But the guy
mhm.
I went with out of those three, I was debating those three back, all three back and forth. I went with Mike Vrabel. I just think just how bad the Patriots did last year, and he's going to come in, and if he really leads them to the playoffs, like I do believe he's going to do, like a seventh playoff spot. I think hands down you have to give him the coach of the year, just because like they won like four I don't know, maybe like 5 games last year. Now they he takes a step up winning 9 or 10. I think him adding those wins are going to end up getting him the coach of the year.
Yeah, and I don't blame you there at all. That's actually really accurate too about
Mhm.
Mike Vrabel, and especially how much he's given to the organization. Throughout the Brady years.
Yeah.
Um, he was definitely, it was between him and my top two pretty much was him and back and forth with Sean Payton. But I think I'm actually going to group with Sean just
Okay.
because of the tremendous job he's doing out there in Denver, and how much he's inputting his knowledge and everything with Bo Nix, which I was always a big fan of. And that's a little bit off topic, but like that's why I was also pretty much happy when we drafted his brother Tez Johnson from Oregon to the Bucks,
Hmm.
because they were so close. And at one point I was like, man, if hypothetically things don't work out with Baker, I was like, man, I hope that we can get like a Bo Nix or something.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think this year Sean Payton is going to do something different with them. Obviously, I have them higher ranked to hope potentially make it all the way to the conference championship. But yeah, it's just something with him that he's doing with this Denver team. It's amazing to see.
Yeah, like that's why I was going back between all three of them, because I'm like, damn, Sean Payton, if he leads the Broncos to the number one seed, like I do believe with how great that defense was last year, and if Bo Nix takes that jump up, I'm like, Sean Payton could win it. Same thing with Ben Johnson. If Ben Johnson makes Caleb make that leap that everyone's been waiting for Caleb to make, he could win it. But I kind of looked at it like who's going to add more wins, and like you said, like it's kind of like the debate. But I think both of those are great picks, Sean Payton or Mike Vrabel. Like I think both of them are going to have a chance to win it. But yeah, so let's look at our predictions. Go recap it one more time. We both got Joe Burrow win MVP. I got Lamar Jackson winning Offensive Player of the Year. You got Jamar Chase. I got Jared Verse winning Defensive Player of the Year. You got Micah Parsons. We both got Ashton Genty winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. We both have Abdul Carter winning Defensive Rookie of the Year. We both have Trevor Lawrence winning Comeback Player of the Year. And I got Mike Vrabel winning Coach of the Year, and you got Sean Payton for Coach of the Year. Does that sound correct? Hez, you there? Did you break up? Hold on, you gotta give him 1 second, guys. We'll get him back in here right now. There he is. I think he coming back right now. There he is. No
Awesome.
problem, no problem. It happens. Wi-Fi and stuff be happening, and phone service and different things. So now, do you have time to go over some topics of the NFL, or do you have to go at the moment?
Yeah, I still got a little bit more.
Okay. So let's go. I want to go over some topics in the NFL. Some like now that we did our predictions, those are our predictions for the year. Now I just want to go over some different topics. I have some quick takes. We can go over some drama that's been going on this season, some different rules changes, and number one thing that's always the biggest topic in the NFL. We got to talk about it. Biggest topic in the NFL right now, and I know you're gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, I don't care about that," because most people don't care. But I want to get your opinion. I feel like your opinion is gonna be like, "I don't have an opinion because I just don't care." But let's see it. Let's start it off with like the off the field buzz. The biggest thing right now. Roger Goodell has hinted so far that Taylor Swift will be the halftime show this year. What do you think about Taylor Swift being the halftime show this year?
Is there like a an option I could just put crickets? No,
See,
I'm just
I
playing.
already knew it. See, I had that written down.
um,
I was like, let's see it. Like Taylor Swift always the biggest topic in the NFL. So I mean, I agree with you.
I mean,
I don't really care. I think if she does it, I think if she does the halftime show, the Chiefs can't make it Super Bowl. I was reading something like that like you can't have the wife of the person up on the Super Bowl halftime show other than the Super Bowl. So I feel like it kind of might be off. But yeah, I just want to get you. I wanted some laughs. That's what I wanted. I wanted some crickets and some laughs. So I had to ask the question. So now some actual football questions. What do you think about this season about the gold patches being added to the jerseys where people that won awards last year, like Saquon, Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, Rookie of the Year, and a few others, comeback player of the year, they're gonna have gold patches on their jerseys this year, gonna show that they won the awards last year. What do you basically like a patch of honor? Do you think it's like a cool move, like really good that they're doing that, or do you think it's more of just like marketing, the NFL trying to make some more money?
I think overall it's good for the game. It shows of how much they're, being representing and appreciative, or being appreciated. I should.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I kind of like it, but I do believe it's a little bit of like a marketing thing where they want to just like kind of sell those jerseys with gold patches on. Like they're like, oh yeah, here we can make some more money on these award winners. Just add a patch to it, and we can sell some jerseys out there with gold patches. But I kind of do like it though. I like it because, like I said, it's more of like a patch of honor. Like you're gonna, it's more like taking like a step for them where they're like, yeah, like this is what we did last year. And I'm like, I'm a big soccer fan to where and a lot of like European football, like I'm a Chelsea fan. If you guys want to know, in soccer, I'm a big Chelsea fan. We just won the Club World Cup. So when we won the Club World Cup, now for the rest of the season, even though we're playing in the English Premier League, we're gonna have we have a gold patch on our jerseys right here that says Club World Cup winners. So I kind of like it. It's kind of making something different. I do believe it's a cool move, really good. But also, I do believe it's kind of marketing. Like I said, they want to sell more jerseys, and more, of course, more people are going to want to go buy those gold patch jerseys. So I think it's kind of a little bit of both. But I like the move. I have nothing wrong to say about it. So now let's get into some rule changes. There's some NFL always making some rule changes. So just go into their rule changes, see if you agree or disagree with them. The NFL made some like big rule changes this year. The kickoff touchback is going to go to the 35-yard line now. They're going to move it up to the 35-yard line. I feel like at this point they should just put it at the 50-yard line because they just keep moving it. The cut. I get it. They're trying what the NFL wants. I guess they want more run backs because a lot of kickers just kick it out, so they're trying to penalize the kicker for kicking the ball out into a touchback. They just keep moving it up. Like I said, it was a 20, then it was a 25, then it was a 30. Now it's a 35. I'm like, yo, just get to the 50-yard line already. That's what you got. Like, but I understand. I guess they all they want to do is make more runbacks because I guess that's good for the game, good for viewership, and that's what the NFL is about: viewership. They want more eyeballs and people getting excited. This is how they changed the whole kickoff, which I don't really like. It kind of reminds me of like you know how they do it, how they line up and then they go after them for the kickoff.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just don't like it. It kind of reminds me of like rugby. Like I don't
Yeah,
like
it's
it.
like a rugby, or like essentially like how they do in like the Canadian league or something.
Yeah. So, do you like that they're moving it up, or are you just kind of like over it, like just keep it how it should be? You hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Do you like that they moved the touchbacks up to the 35-yard line? Or are you more of like they should just keep it how it was?
Um, I'm definitely a fan
Hey Hez, I can't really hear you. I don't know if your is your mic covered at all.
Can you hear
Yes,
me
I
now?
can.
Am I good?
Yes.
Oh, okay. No, I mean, it pretty much just. I mean, I pretty much agree with you. Like, I feel like we really shouldn't move it up that far. At that point, you're practically at midfield. So it's like, I didn't understand why would they want to change it in the first place. Like, and then even with the whole, I already wasn't really a fan of um them having the players run after the ball is being kicked, or when the ball is already in the in the in the kick returner's hands and stuff. Because I'm just like, man, it kind of reminds me like how they do in other leagues, and like in the Canadian league, like until the player's actually running back, then they're barely starting to take off. And I'm like, man,
Yeah.
that kind of ruins it. Like, I understand the whole point of them trying to give the returner a chance, but I'm like, no, it kind of just kills it.
Yeah, I agree. I think they need to stop changing like those rules, especially with the touchbacks. I get it. They want more run backs, but they want more eyes. They want more explosive plays, but kind of ruining the special teams for me. Like so now the next rule change they did. The Hawkeye first downs. Do you know what the Hawkeye first downs are?
Uh, Remind me what they are again.
The Hawkeye first downs is how they're gonna have the AI like electric first down thing, the measurement. Instead of bringing the sticks out and all that stuff, now they're
Uh,
having like the actual like AI measurements to make sure see if the ball, kind of like how soccer does VAR, virtual referee, to see if the ball went over the net or there's offsides. They're gonna have that for the NFL now.
in a sense, I do like it because as is shown in recent years, these refs are just so blind when it comes down to really seeing where the chains are. Even sometimes the chains people are just lagging, and they're just like, okay, yeah, I'm supposed to be here, but like, oh man, I'm like, I thought it was over here, but I'm just gonna stick of where it's at, and it costs a lot of teams games. So
Yeah,
I feel like it's only right they kind of adding that on, because now they can't really fake it.
yeah. I mean I kind of like it now because now like I said they're using AI and like actual like systems now, because I was always saying in the day of the technology we have, why are we still using sticks and chains to measure the ball? And like at the end of the day, I feel like the referees always put the ball in the wrong spot at the end of the day. Like they always like they just grab it and guess. So now we're actually going to see, and sometimes players they could go down, the players they kind of move it forward a little bit. Like so I kind of
Yeah, exactly. And we see it all the time.
yeah, so I kind of like it now. I kind of like that we're gonna have some computer AI actually measuring it to make sure it's in the right spots. So we both agree on that rule. Now let's see this. This is a new rule I just did not know about. I just read about it right now. So if a team is trailing in the fourth quarter, they can now attempt onside kick anyone. Oh shit! So all right, the new the onside kick rule. There's a new onside kick rule change. Have you heard about that one? I'm barely hearing about it right now.
No,
So
I haven't heard it.
the old rule. Teams had to attempt the onside kicks from the 35-yard line after scoring, and success rates were extremely low, around 4 to 5% in recent years. The new rule coming into 2025, if a team is trailing in the fourth quarter, they can now attempt the onside kick from anywhere on the field instead of being restricted to the 35-yard line. Let me see, the ball is also placed at the 1 yard closer than before, slightly increase the odds of recovery. Teams can have a more realistic shot at stealing extra possessions late in games. Fans and broadcasters have higher stake finishes. No more game is over with 2 minutes just left because the onside kick never works. Coaches may have to plan around this rule, especially if they have a kicker skilled in precise kicks. Bottom line, the NFL wanted to add excitement and balance. Games that used to feel finished in the final minutes of a game now have a chance to flip thanks to this new rule. I'm sorry, guys. See, we're having technical difficulties at the moment. Let me see if we can get Hez back here because he seems frozen. Hez, you hear me? I can hear you, but it seems a little glitchy. Let's see if we can get it back. I'm not sure. Just phone service and Wi-Fi and all that stuff for both of us probably acting weird. Let's see if we can get him back.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, sorry. Go over that one more time because we just.
Oh, did we both cut out when I was reading it too? You hear me?
Say that one more time.
Okay. So you know the old rule. They would have to kick the ball from the 35-yard line, right? New
Yes.
rule: if a team is trailing in the fourth quarter, they can now attempt an onside kick anywhere on the field instead of being restricted to the 35-yard line. The ball is also placed 1 yard closer than before, slightly increase the odds of recovery. Hmm. I agree. I don't like the rule. I think they're messing with it too much to attract viewers. But I feel like what they're doing is they're turning it into football that it's not. Like it's like they're messing up a lot of these rules. I feel like it's not a good thing for the sport. I feel like that what they should have did for the onside kicks is start letting people start. You can run before the ball is actually kicked, how you used to, instead of just waiting till they kick the ball and then you can run. I feel like that was a better way of doing it, where you have more success rate. But I feel like this whole thing is just, I don't know. Like I said, that rule is kind of, I feel like they're kind of messing up the everything. They're gonna mess with like betting lines. They're gonna mess with like end of games. Like it's gonna mess with a lot of stuff now. So for someone that's gonna be betting on football, someone that's
Yeah.
gonna be putting some money on football, I need to look at this rule now because now it's kind of crazy. Like I don't really understand what they're doing. And now let's
Yeah.
get into some. Now let's get into the Cowboys drama. The biggest soap opera of the whole entire offseason. Cowboys traded Micah Parsons, and then Jerry Jones turns around and says he's just trying to make another splash move. I don't like don't be wrong. Like I have an opinion on this, a new opinion on this. Do you think Dallas is cooked or are they still contenders? I think we both already went over that. I think we both said they're cooked because they are gonna finish last in the division. But do you more of see it as no, let me see. What's your opinion on the Micah Parsons trade?
Really had that into draft picks over the years. Like obviously the Leighton Vander Esch draft didn't really work out. Like
Mhm.
so, like there really just wasn't that presence to kind of lock down and to solidify and being like, yeah, we can actually build around him. Just like how Jerry's just kind of like, yeah, I'm riding with Dak, like ride or die. So I'm just like, all right, well, you finally found that good piece, but now you're just letting him go. And even coming down from Micah, like it necessarily, he was even saying himself, like it wasn't even about the
Mhm.
money, but the fact that at the end of the day, Jerry is still making about it like, oh, I'm gonna give it to you now. But he wasn't even trying to talk to him per se. He was like, oh, let me kind of behind your back go straight to your manager or whatever, your agent. So the fact that he's actually pulled the trigger on getting, I'm not really a fan of it, but at the same time, in a sense, it's kind of like kind of 50-50 because like I wouldn't have let him go, but at the same time, you pretty much finesse a couple first rounders to kind of see where the next draft class is gonna go because that could potentially, as we were stating earlier, that could have been or that could be potentially the stepping point for him to get like a Arch Manning or something if he doesn't decide to keep Dak.
Yeah. Like I kind of like I said, I think when I first messaged you about this trade, I was like, I think me and you were both are kind of like, what the hell is Jerry doing? Like, kind of like, what is he crazy? But now, honestly, I'm not lying. Overlooking the trade and overseeing seeing what they got, and reading up a little bit more about it, I I can put it this way: if I was the GM of the Cowboys, would I have traded? Would I have traded Micah? No, I wouldn't have traded Micah. But I understand why they traded Micah. it's it's a distraction first of all with all that this is going on. Bridges were kind of burned now. Where Jerry Jones said, "I felt like we had a deal," and then he tells me, "No, you go talk to my manager. I need you to talk to my manager." And Jerry's like, "Well, we had a handshake agreement." And now we talked about it, and I feel like Micah felt that Jerry was trying to take advantage of him, and I felt Jerry felt like Micah was trying to take advantage of him. So I
Yeah,
felt like the bridges were kind of burned. I feel like it was a giant distraction in the Cowboys locker room. I also feel like that Micah's podcast that he does every week is a big distraction. I wonder how they're going to deal with it in Green Bay, because Micah does a podcast every week, and I feel like that's another distraction. And what now going to the haul that they got, I do believe that Micah is a great player. I think he might end up winning a Super Bowl with the Packers. He might end up winning, like you said. You even think he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year, but I just think where you get all pro offensive lineman, that's going to help your running game because right now the Cowboys don't have an offensive line. I mean, now they have a new guy coming in where the offensive line is probably a lot better improved. But like now, it's going to help your running game. It's going to help protect Dak from a lot of the things. You got 2 first round picks. Yes, they're going to be like bottom. They're probably going to be like that 25 to 29th range in draft picks because the Packers are going to be a good team. But people don't. This is not the NBA where you got a 20th draft pick where that draft's not going to be probably not going to be that much. The NFL, almost everybody in the first round has a chance of being a star. People in the beginning of the second round has a chance of being a star. So you have 4 first round picks where I believe that you're now with how the Cowboys are going to have a bad season this year, most likely. That now you have 4 draft picks. You're going to have 1 draft pick each class for 2025 and 2026. You're going to have a draft pick in the beginning of the round and the end of the round, and then you're going to have a. Think about this with within 35 picks, 36 picks, the first end of the first end of the I would say the first end of the first round draft and the first end of the second round draft to the end from like number 1 overall pick to 38th pick. Let's go between that. You're gonna have 4 picks or 3 picks each draft because you're going to get a first round pick in the beginning of the first round. You're going to get a first round pick at the end of the first round. Then you're going to get a second round pick in the beginning of the second round, and the same thing for those. So you're going to get four draft picks all within the little time period. So I feel like they're going to have a good chance. And with how the Cowboys draft recently, how they always pick the right person for some reason. They always pick a good guy. You can find another Micah Parsons. You can find another guy. You can find a quarterback. You're gonna have chances to get these guys. And if Jerry drafts wrong and it doesn't look like it, okay, I guess we can look at it. But I feel like we can't look at this trade until we see what Jerry does with those picks and see who he gets. So I understand the trade. Bridges were burned. I think both teams got evenly what they deserve. I think the 2 first rounders is good for them. And like I said, I honestly, I'm not gonna lie. At first, I looked at it like Jerry's crazy, but now, kind of looking at it more, I don't think Jerry's all that crazy. I feel like he made maybe a good decision because 48 million to a defensive lineman is a lot of money, and so I don't. Yeah. Like I said, I think I understand it a little bit more now. So now, the question I have to go is Eagles and Cowboys tomorrow. The NFL kicks off tomorrow. Eagles, Cowboys, Thursday night football. I don't know if you have time after the game. If you want to come back on here and talk about the game, we'll see. I'll message you and we'll see if you have time tomorrow after the game. But let's talk about right now. and we can't forget like the Cowboys and Eagles are a big rivalry in the league. The raising the banner against the Cowboys. They're gonna put it. It's gonna be trophy day. Philly's on top. Do you think Philly comes out and, or better question I could say, what's more likely, a Philly blowout or a Dallas upset?
between them or like the Giants and stuff. So it's always like a big rivalry game. But for tomorrow's game, I feel like Dallas is gonna give it their all to kind of beat them and yeah, really upset them. But then down the road, they're just kind of like, yeah, they probably lose a second matchup, or if they have to, if they actually do go into the postseason built up and turn.
Okay, so like I see. So you agree, because I kind of see it the same way. Are you picking the Cowboys to win tomorrow, or are you just saying it's more likely the Cowboys to upset than a blowout? You see a close game, and or do you think Philly, or who do you think wins tomorrow? 'Cause I know you say you think either way it's gonna be a close game, but who do you think wins?
I feel like it will be a close. I feel like it will be a close game, and that Dallas ends up do kind of like pretty much upsetting them just to kind of prove a point. Like, yeah, we're not gonna start the season off like this, especially after everything about the Micah drama. But after that, I don't really see them doing
Hmm.
anything else, like other than showing why nobody's really putting them on a higher pedestal to do anything. So I feel like that'll be mainly like their highlight practically of the year is to upset Philly for to start the year off.
Yeah, I honestly I kind of agree with that. I feel like Dallas might be live for an upset tomorrow. Like I am like looking at the game, I do think Philly wins. But if I had to say what's more likely between Dallas getting blown out or Dallas upsetting them, I think Dallas has a good chance to upset them. Like, for some reason Dak always does good against Philly. It's like he don't like Philly. He always does good against Philly. I think this point spread is like 10 points. Something like that. I think Dallas are huge underdogs, and I think Dallas would easily cover that. So I think we both agree on that. I think you think Dallas actually upsets. I think it's gonna be more of a close game, and Philly pulls it off. But if they upset them, like I said, I think it's more likely than a blowout for the Eagles. And now I just have two more questions. Two more questions we can get into, and then we'll get out of here. So you still here with me, Hez? So last one, or not last one, two more. This is the second to last one. Which coach in the NFL do you think is on the hottest seat? Who's on the hot seat this year to get fired or do something in the league? And if you don't know the names, you can just say the team.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Honest, for me, it'll have to be Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
You think so? Yeah. Yeah, Mike Tomlin. So you think, as if he don't have a good season with Aaron Rodgers, you think the Steelers are gonna say, you know what, we're pulling the plug on this?
Mike is he's a Virginia native, and for some odd reason, like he's always trying to trade for or just draft hella players that are just coming from the state of Virginia, and it's like it could come from like Virginia, it could be some, like William and Mary, it could be like just some small school. But I'm like, what is it with you trying to bring
Yeah, I think Mike Tomlin is on a hot seat, if I had to say. But the one coach I say that I think is on a hot seat that they better. I honestly think it's AFC Championship or you're fired, in my opinion. Is I think if I get his name right, I think it's Sean McDermott, the head coach for the Bills. I think if the Bills don't make the
Mm,
offense, the AFC Championship this year, let's say they get knocked off by by the Chiefs again, or they get knocked off by the Ravens before the AFC Championship game, I think Sean McDermott's going to get fired. I think they're going to end up moving to a different direction because I feel like they can't be wasting Josh Allen's prime like they've been doing. Like he's been losing, like I said, 4 games. He's lost 4 AFC. I mean, or 4 playoff losses to the Chiefs already. And if he goes out there and loses to the Chiefs again with Sean McDermott as a coach, I honestly think they're going to move off of him. So that's who I. And I agree with you though. I agree that Mike Tomlin's on the hot seat too. But if I had to say who's on the hottest seat, I would think it's Sean McDermott. Like he has to do something with Josh Allen, or they're going to probably move on from him.
yeah, yeah, definitely. That's a good one as well. Because yeah, it's that year, man. If they don't go farther than what they have, or at least, I mean, at this point, it's really like championship or nothing.
Yeah, it is like like you can't keep making the AFC Championship game or and then losing to the Chiefs. You can't you can't. So now the last question, right before we get out of here, guys. Who do you think is going to be your biggest breakout player this year in 2025? A guy that no one's watching, a guy that you think is going to come out and people are going to be like, okay, he's going to be a star in this league. Or if he's already a good player and we haven't noticed it yet, who do you think is going to be that breakout star people are going to be talking about at the end of the year?
A few comes to mind for sure. I think for some odd reason, for me, I would like to see because he's recently just had speaking of the Bills, because he recently just had left LA to go there. It's Boza.
Bosa?
Hmm.
Okay, so you think he's going to have a breakout year on that defensive side?
Yeah, because it was kind of like a little slump last year. Like I remember my Bucks went down to play him at SoFi, and he wasn't really looking particularly the same. And I know it was different for him because Harbaugh took over, and it's just entirely pretty much a new different team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But just seeing him add into what Buffalo already has, I feel like it'll be a plus side for him to kind of just doing what he's already been known to do, especially when he first came into the league. So I feel like this year is going to show that he not only that he didn't lose a step, but that he's actually just gotten better, in my
Hmm.
opinion.
Yeah, I had a few come to mind, but I feel like the one guy that's going to be a breakout this year that people are going to be like, dang, like kind of gave up on him, but now I think he's going to be back is I think Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young's going to have a really good year with Carolina, and I feel like a lot of people are going to be like, okay, he actually is a good quarterback. So I just think that he's going
Yeah,
to be the breakout player this year, 2025. I was thinking of maybe I was trying to think of some running backs possibly, but I couldn't think of any that could really make the name for themselves. I guess one person that comes to mind, but he might be overshadowed by the other side is Emeka Ibuka. I think he might be
mm,
another one where people are looking at like he's a rookie, but people are going to be like, dang, this rookie might be the next big superstar out there, right behind Mike Evans. But I feel like being behind Mike Evans is going to be too much for him. And another guy I can say be a breakout star. My number one is probably Bryce Young, but the one guy I was very really debating with him is Marvin Harrison Jr. I think Kyler Murray is going to have a good season, and he's going to need a weapon out there. And Marvin Harrison Jr. is so good. Like he last year, he kind of didn't have the season I thought he would. I thought he'd win Offensive Rookie of the Year last year, and he just didn't. He had an okay season, but I feel like this is the second year step that a receiver should be taking. If you're going to be on the caliber, I think he should be on the caliber. So if I had to give you two, it's going to be Bryce Young and Marvin Harrison Jr. I think those two are going to be breakout stars this year in the NFL.
yeah, those are good ones too, man. They'll definitely. I could definitely see Marvin doing his thing, especially because he's just naturally like just a freak athlete, and there's not nothing he can do. I mean, they're pretty much making uh the descriptions about him in the preseason. They were like, yeah, I mean, he's learned everything from Marvin Harrison Sr., but even his dad admitted, like, man, he's doing things that I couldn't even do, just by how lengthy he is and
Yeah,
you know
he
how much
plays.
taller.
He play. I was gonna say the same thing. He plays just like his dad, but he's just taller. Like he's like
Yeah,
that's literally what it is. Like he's just taller and more lengthy. So, but he's got all the skills in the world. That's the reason why I think he can be a breakout star this year in the NFL.
Yeah, man. I definitely feel like he'll do that as well.
All right, guys, that's the wrap up for our very first episode of After the Snap. I will see when's the next time we're gonna be on here. I'm gonna try to get us on here if we have time between both of us. Try to get us on this YouTube live talking about the NFL maybe twice a week. We'll see. Maybe we'll get on Mondays or Tuesdays recapping the week. Maybe we'll get on after the games are over. We'll see. Depends on if we have time. Maybe we'll be on tomorrow. I will let you guys know if we'll be on tomorrow after the Cowboys game. It depends if we have time after the Cowboys Eagles game. We can talk about it. But this is probably going to be the longest show that we had because, like I said, we had to go through our whole entire preseason picks, some NFL topics, everything. We went through our division winners, everything. So, like I said, that's a wrap up for the first episode of After the Snap. We gave our, like I said, division winners, playoff predictions, big topics in the NFL, MVP award winners. So, yeah, guys, like I said, shout out to everyone who's pulled up to this first episode tonight. Shout out to everyone that is watching after this video is going to be posted. And yeah, man, I really appreciate this. This was really fun. It's gonna be fun the whole entire NFL season doing this with you.
Yeah, man. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm very appreciative of the opportunity for you to have me on here with you on doing this live predictions, and you know, it's definitely just exciting to see of like how much more stuff is going to be happening, from here on out, especially because the first season or first week is about to start going on, and
Hmm.
hopefully everybody lives up to the hype of what we believe in how they're going to actually achieve these awards this year.
Yeah, hopefully we get a real. Well, look, at the end, I'm keeping all these papers. So at the end of the year, we'll look back at all these and see where we were right and we were wrong. Maybe even midway through the year, we'll see. Okay, to see if we were wrong or right about this stuff. But all right, guys, like I said, we're wrapping it up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, click that thumbs up, subscribe to the Wager Zone. I give you guys all my bets. I do MMA. NFL season is gonna be coming in. I do soccer and I do interview with fighters. Tomorrow, I will be on here interviewing Richie Miranda, LFA world champion, gonna be in the UFC soon. He has agreed to an interview with me. I'll be doing an interview with Richie Miranda tomorrow. We are going to be on here around 1 o'clock doing an interview. So stay tuned for that. I might just post it or I might go live. You will see how it goes. And put your predictions on in the comments as well. Let me guys know if you guys have any predictions for your NFL awards, your division winners. Let me guys know if you guys agree with me, if you guys agree with Hez, or if you guys just think we're both crazy and we both don't know what we're talking about. Like I want the comments. I want everything you guys know. But thank you for joining the After the Snap first episode. We will be back again for episode 2. Until then, I'm Randy, your host with the Wager Zone. This is the co-host, Hezi Hybrid. And all right, guys, we're out of here, and I'll see you guys next time.
Peace.